Well, technically, yeah, I do. Well, technically, yeah, I do.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on the Tuesday before Christmas. Thanks so much for being with us. This is the last day of, is this like the longest day of the year? Or no, shortest day of the year. This is the shortest day of the year, right?
Welcome to winter.
Right. Just over under.
Vicious storms.
Well, I got some.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's going to be about 74 degrees, but yeah, we're going to have some serious rain on the west coast of Florida. There's no doubt about it.
Winter, David. This is.
I understand. That's what I was getting at.
Get the scrapers out.
Let's not get carried away now. Let's not really panic, people. All right. I mean, please, we've got, local stations driving around in their cars, breaking news. You know what they're showing us? It's raining. Oh my goodness, it's raining. So,
so leave 10 minutes early and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it.
Go a little slower, allow a little more space in between the cars. Back to you, Jim, in the studio.
More people will be driving slowly in the left lane today, pumping their brakes more often than yesterday.
Right. More often than usual. Exactly.
Right. That's it.
Speeds in the left-hand lane will be 5 to 10 miles an hour slower than normal.
Had it last night, David. The wife's office Christmas party.
Uh-oh.
Don't know when ours is.
Well,
passing out envelopes full of cash again.
Were they really? Man, your wife works at a great place.
Unbelievable, boss. Unbelievable. 50 people there. Private room. Pianist.
A pianist?
Open bar.
Hold on. A pianist?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Really liked it when she was going all Christmas carols and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Desperado by the Eagles came in. I'm like, nice.
There you go.
But yeah. Open bar, hors d'oeuvres. David, you could have been picking cheese right off of plates if you wanted to.
Just making sure no cheese is touching any other cheese,
right.
But then otherwise you can use your hands.
And then 3-course meal. After the
right.
But not like you get A, B, and C. Here's 4 choices for A. Here's 4 choices for B.
Man.
Here's 4 choices for C, and then we'll bring dessert to you.
My goodness. He must be making money.
They're
crushing it. People and their pets.
Everybody very happy. Employees all super happy.
Envelopes and pianists will do that.
Right. I just bring that up because David and I have been at this quite a while. For those of you listening in the Tampa St. Pete market, this has been a bone of contention with Miller and Moulton going back to our beginning.
Well, I will say, though, there have also been times where we have been invited to Christmas parties where it has ultimately led to our demise. So Christmas parties are a bit of a sensitive topic with us.
But Christmas bonuses are even a more sensitive topic.
Oh, for goodness sakes. That should be the poll. We'll have a sports question and a non-sports question. The non-sports question is, do you get a Christmas bonus?
Right. And it's going to be, is it gift card, cash, obscene amount of cash?
How about, and then zip, zilch, nada?
Right. Well, that's what we're used to.
Right.
I'm letting the boss know right now, anything over $1 would be a bonus for us.
Totally. I want to go back to that TV station I worked at 20 years ago when they gave me movie tickets and about 2/3 of the gift certificate for a ham.
I
Cheapest ham
liked
was
when I liked
$37, and I got a $25 gift card.
my favorite was we worked at this place and they would give out gift certificates that had about 3 weeks left before they expired.
The best was very last Christmas party in our first act. All right. We both got gift cards, if you will, to places that were out of business.
That's right.
The very last one in our first act.
Yep.
Right.
So Christmas party, I'm a little slow on a Tuesday. It's hard to do that to someone on a Monday.
Well, yeah. I mean, after the last weekend before Christmas and then a Monday night Christmas party, that's starting a little early, Ed.
But it was fun. I sat with the boss's son, who's now, going to go into that line of work, and his girlfriend. He's a Gator. The girlfriend, a Seminole.
Wow.
She just said, so for the first time, I thought we had a chance. Since they've been going to school together. It's the first year I really thought we had a chance.
And you did.
You did.
And then don't worry, you'll get them.
It was relieving to me for younger fans, because it's a younger Gator fan who's, as a kid, enjoyed unbelievable greatness. Now in his 4th year in school, it's been okay. Been good.
Yeah, it's been all right.
This year, not so much.
Right.
But he did say to me, yeah, this year, obviously kind of stunk. He actually liked Mullen, didn't want him kicked to the curb, but he just said to me, he goes, but we beat Florida State. And he just gave that look to his girlfriend like, and I like that just little tiny bit of angst. So good for you. So at least I know there are some Gator fans out there that still take a lot of pride in that Thanksgiving weekend game.
Well, when that's the only thing you have to hang your hat on. And now they're like, and listen, we got to win this damn Gasparilla Bowl too. All right. Talk about ruining a Christmas. We lose the UCF. Meanwhile, if you're UCF, this is a big deal.
This is Christmas.
I mean, remember, you had former ADs and what have you that couldn't get these guys on a field, and you're able to get them in a bowl game. Let's go. You into the bowls? I was stuck on a plane yesterday, could not get NFL Network, so I was stuck watching the final quarter and a half of the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Normally, I would have been all in yesterday. But just, life sometimes gets in the way, and I have a 7-year-old, and when she wants to play in the yard, bowl games don't matter nearly as much.
Well, then they didn't matter much before the 7-year-old, but continue.
But I don't know. I'm just not gambling on the, normally it would be something, maybe we throw a shekel down, but this is that weird time of the bowl games, right? We have a Christmas that's on a weekend. So, this is normally when people are taking off of work, and you and I are slugging through this. So that's,
we pulled into the back parking lot here half hour ago and there were no cars.
It's a ghost town.
We're like, well, I guess everybody's taking this week off.
You got that right. And probably some will take next week off as well.
Depending how high they are on the, totem pole, you can take both weeks off.
That's how it goes.
Meanwhile, for us, we're taking 2 Fridays off. Yeah. That's where we are on the pole.
The eve and the eve.
Right.
And to be frank, it was news to me that we were taking the New Year's Eve off. And when I saw it, I said, all right, that's fine. I'll take it. I was planning on only getting 1 eve off.
Would have been a little tough for me. All right. Would have been able to do it, but it would have been tough. And figured if we can do the one, why can't we do the other? Bada bing, bada boom. Either that or they could re-air the show from the 30th on the 31st. The topics still apply.
Georgia, Michigan, exactly. Alabama, Cincinnati.
Exactly.
NFL playoff spots.
Right.
I could do it right now.
Yeah, we really could. We really could. Speaking of the NFL, a lot going on yesterday. Bad news for the Bucs, man. I mean, for as bad as Sunday was, Monday was worse. There was a hint of good news yesterday, and it quickly went away. For about an hour and a half, the report was that Chris Godwin had a sprained MCL, would miss the rest of the regular season, but they're hopeful he'd be back for the playoffs. And then about 90 minutes later, it was like, well, the MCL may be sprained, but the ACL's torn. So he done.
And it's twofold for Godwin because he's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yep.
So not only does it just really hurt the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously, in ways that we all can understand, but for Godwin personally, this could cost him tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah. There's no question about it. I will say it probably makes him a little bit more affordable for the Bucs to keep him in the fold.
You're right.
That you figure he won't get the top end dollar offer from somebody else. And by that, I mean like an $18 to $20 million a year offer.
Right.
His production certainly warrants it, but you just, coming off an ACL next year, he probably won't be 100%. He may be in the 85 to 90% range. And usually the first couple years of the free agent deal is when you're paying the most money and it's all guaranteed. This might keep Chris Godwin a Buccaneer.
And it also may allow a team who may not have had the opportunity to get him to only have to slightly outbid the Bucs as opposed to get into that $18 million destination. There have been a lot of Dolphin fans for the last 3 weeks, every time he makes a play. And I think it's just a Twitter phenomenon. You and I follow probably a few more Dolphins people than we do other teams. But, man, there are a lot of Dolphin people out there like, we better be getting us a Godwin this offseason. We better be getting us a Godwin. And,
we could all use a Godwin.
We really could.
We could all use a Godwin. But Mike Evans, hamstring, I love how they say, quote, going to miss some time. And, we probably should have been that vague years ago. Instead of, think about it, a back, a hamstring, a groin. You don't know. They let you know when you're coming back.
And could there be anything worse than a hammy, because it is an unknown timetable and it's one you can't rush?
No, because
that can lead to an Achilles.
Well, but also, God forbid, you rush it and then it's worse. And now look at where we're getting in the season. You can't re-injure this. You re-injure it, you're done for the year. But Leonard Fournette also with a hamstring injury, going to miss some time. Now, some time could be a week, but then again, we only got 3 games left in the regular season.
And they're playing the 4th week. That's what happened this weekend.
Yes.
Losing that game said they will play the 2nd weekend, or I guess 3rd weekend of January.
And Levante David came out of the game with a foot injury as well, and his status is up in the air. And much like Kyrie Irving returning to the Brooklyn Nets, Mark, there is a principle stand that an organization can take. We stand for certain things until everybody is injured or on the COVID list. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Kyrie could be a part-time player. Hell, he could play Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays if he wants. He could wear the white jersey, the blue jersey, whichever. Honestly, we'll take whatever we can get there. And it's kind of the same with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because you kind of got the sense over the last few weeks that Arians was, waiting for the day that AB would be reinstated so that he could cut him. And now it's like, yeah, he's reinstated and he's going to start.
And I don't give a damn what you think about that. That's the first time. And look, Bruce Arians is his own guy. I love him.
Yeah,
he's
we
funny.
all do.
He's honest.
Yeah.
But he got pissed.
Right.
He got annoyed. He's like, yeah, I'm well aware that AB's not a good guy. Did anybody not hear that Godwin blew his ACL? I'm trying to win a blankety-blank Super Bowl, and my number 2's out with an ACL. My number 1 might not come back, and my running back's gone. Yes, I'm playing Antonio Brown. What the hell do you want me to do?
Why? Things have changed. Read the injury report. That's why.
Did you guys pay attention to the news for the last couple of years? There's this phrase. It's called a fluid situation. This is a fluid situation right here.
This is the National Football League. There's only 2 things that matters, winning and money. AB involves winning. We're going to do it. Miller and Moulton. Got a good show lined up for you. Speaking of the Bucs, Roy Cummings will join us in our 8 o'clock hour, as will Pat Kirwan, to talk the league at large. Stay safe out there. A lot of rain on the west coast of Florida today. No way to avoid it.
Scary rain.
So just slow down a little bit, all right, and realize that the bad driving could be even worse today. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. There's no way with the 11 o'clock Central start. I go, he's got to get out of a hotel room. He's got too much crap to do.
Yeah, there would have been. I mean, I would have been fine. It's 15 minutes from the hotel to the
Well,
stadium,
that's why I figured if you
and
were done
there's
at
2
8.
hours from the end of the game to kickoff. So I would have been okay.
But that's why I figured I'd give you the last. That's if we were doing. I'm like, he'll work 3 hours. He's done at 9. Well, that was just always in my head. I'm like, that way, just because you had to check out of the I figured an extra hour to check out of the hotel, and hell, if there's anything to take a crap and I mean, just to.
So one time, I flew in the day of the game. I did it actually 3 times. Flew in the day of the game, and the one time we got in, we landed. It was like an hour before kick, and so we're in the airport, what have you. And there's actually by then there's a little bit of traffic, and you have to go up a hill. And so I had the guy take me to the base of the hill and said, "Let me out." So I'm walking with my luggage up the hill, up on the side of the road, and some people. And I'm walking into the compound about 23 minutes before kickoff with my luggage. I'm like, "Hey, I only have to be here by kickoff. Don't lose this bag. We're flying right out."
All right, we need to get some followers here. We're floundering. I want to be to 700.
Oh, we're getting like one a show, 2 a show. One a show.
Probably 2 a week would be a better number. Insights. Let's see. Channel analytics. In the last 30 days, we've gotten 19 follows.
Danny Ice. Who's Danny Ice? Who am I missing? Who's Danny Ice?
Is that what he calls Derek Carr? I don't know, David. He's a Raiders fan.
No, I know.
I'm
just trying to figure out who Danny Ice is.
He's not telling you.
Well,
he doesn't want you to know. It's an inside joke, I guess. Look at that. They got it right. Look at the screen.
yeah, look at that.
The ticker, they got it right.
Yep.
Matches FSU's men's record.
Yep.
76. I don't know who that is. That's pre-me. Because Magic went there in 78.
Oh, the kicker. Absolutely, baby. Money kick.
Terry Furlow from Saginaw High. Which I laugh because My buddy's last name is Furlow. When the new coach came in, he just assumed Furlow was a black kid because of Terry Furlow. He goes, we ended up being pretty good friends with Kirwan. He goes, because he cut him. I think it was Chris's junior year, and Chris was pretty bummed out. He's a pretty good basketball player, but he's got a little heavy. He goes, yeah, they told him about this Furlow kid. He goes, after he goes, I don't know. He goes, I just remember Terry Furlow, the one basketball from Michigan State. I figured it came in, you were a black kid. And you're this fat white kid.
Following the Saudi Arabia invitational story.
The golf thing?
Yeah.
A little.
So they granted
15
the
seconds.
Of course they did.
Okay, with conditions.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network on the Tuesday before Christmas. We will be off each of the next 2 Fridays, Christmas and New Year's Eve. We will, in fact, be off. Otherwise, we will be doing shows.
What else would we do, David?
That's what we do. We work. In fact, that could be, part of a slogan, a motto of Miller and Moulton. Miller and Moulton. We work damn near every day. We're here for you. Like those news stations, working for you.
How about we just go with the old Kumo D song? I go to work.
There you go. That'll work. Working for you in your corner now. You can text the show if you never have before by texting all one word, FSN Radio. FSN for Florida Sports Network, FSN Radio. Send it to 21,000, 21000. That gets you in, and then feel free anytime you want, whenever it is that you take in the show. If you are watching us, and we love when you do, on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, obviously there's the Twitch chat room, and don't be shy. You following this whole PGA Tour Saudi Arabia story?
At a distance. I don't think I'm as into it as you are, because I know these are the things that, well, they make you smile.
Well, the reason,
because of the hypocrisy.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the world's full of hypocrisy. I mean, there are times when we're even hypocrites. Not often. We've tried, as we've gotten older, we've tried to be less and less hypocritical, or at least acknowledge our hypocrisy.
There you go. That's it. It's going to happen. It's acknowledging it when it happens. Right. Yep. Guilty.
Yeah. We're guilty, to say whatever you want, and we're fair game. But the reason that I am interested in this is because of that whole threat of this big money world tour that Greg Norman's now the commissioner of, and there's huge money coming from the Middle East, in which, let's face it, these guys are independent contractors. And why are they playing? They're playing for money. I mean, money in majors. I mean, that's why they're playing. And golf is a fickle thing. You can lose it. Ricky Fowler. I mean, you can be a top 5 player in the world and then for 2 years be almost an also-ran. So I don't blame them at all if they go make their money. This could be it. You really don't know. You get injured. And so with the threat of this world tour, Saudi Arabia, and they've had this tournament for a while. It used to be on the European tour. They just now signed an exclusive deal. I think this is now an Asian tour event.
Yes.
It is the same weekend of Pebble Beach, which is not the tournament that you and I grew up watching. It's actually now a tournament that half the tour players hate.
Despise. 7-hour rounds. They don't like this Pro-Am. Look at the field.
Don't like the weather that time of the year.
Right.
In a little bit more Northern California. And so they're like, no, I'm good. I'll sit this one out. I'm not playing with Bill Murray, so it's not going to be that much fun for me.
Yeah, Bill Murray's one guess, but when you have the vice president of AT&T, it's not nearly as much fun.
No, it really isn't. And so, I mean, Dustin Johnson, who I think has one pebble, but DJ, he's played in this Saudi Arabia Invitational. Now, it's been up against other tour events.
Now,
against Phoenix one year. And
now, remember, with Dustin Johnson, he still thinks he's going to the San Antonio event.
Just will you stop it? My goodness. For those new to the show, Mark has questioned DJ's intelligence for a long time.
What?
Here we go. I knew the impression would come out sooner or later. So DJ, Phil, Bryson, Sergio, Xander Schauffele, Paul Casey, Adam Scott, Bubba Watson, just some of the 30 guys who are members of the PGA Tour who don't want to play at Pebble. Instead, they want to go get a 6-figure guarantee to show up in Saudi Arabia and play a cash grab.
And by the way, that list of names is as diverse a list of different personalities, different guys. I mean, they're all over the map there. When you go from Bubba to Phil, I mean, seriously, there's a pretty big gap between A and B there. And everyone in between is on that same stretch. I mean, they're all over the map there. It's not like it's a group of buddies, if you know what I mean, saying, hey, we're going to go do this.
Right. And it's got guys like Bubba and Phil who are on the downside, even though Phil won his major last year, which was historic. Bubba's looks as if he's peaked, even though he's had some moments here and he's trying to regain his form. But, Sergio's regained his form lately. DJ's still an elite golfer. Goodness knows Schauffele is at the top of his game, right, et cetera. And so, yes.
But Schauffele, a really young,
right,
up-and-coming golfer.
Right. So we've got Phil, who's a Champions Tour player, but then you got Bubba, and then you got a couple of Bubba and Sergio who are in their 40s, Paul Casey in his 40s, DJ in his late 30s, and then some 20s.
Okay, but DJ, and not with my thing here, I think you would even agree with the statement. I don't think DJ gives a damn what people think of DJ.
Agreed.
Phil and Bubba care tremendously about what the public thinks of them. And going to this tournament is not necessarily the most popular thing for your public to think of you because it's cash grab and all the other reasons that go behind it.
Right.
The human rights issue, and I won't get into we don't have time for it. But Bubba and Phil care about what people think, and they're still going. Mm-hmm. And that's why when you read that list off, it's fascinating to me, the diversity of players that have chosen to go.
Well, by PGA bylaws, they're not allowed to go unless they get a waiver.
Right. Because it's an Asian tour event? Is that the reason behind it?
No, because I think the Saudi Arabia part of it.
Huh. Okay. And that was kind of the glitch because the players are, this is an Asian tour event. Why can't?
Right. So, but remember, it was a European tour event the last few years, and I guess DJ had to get exemption because he's played in it. This will be 4 straight years. He's won it twice and been runner-up. I mean, for what he obviously loves his course. So these golfers had to apply for a waiver. And the bylaws state if you don't get a waiver, if you play, we can kick you off the tour. And with the whole world golf thing kind of looming in the background, that's why I'm interested. I was curious, how was the tour going to handle this? So they granted all of the golfers waivers conditionally. They say, apparently there are rules where if we grant you a waiver, you then have to either play that event once in the next 2 years, or if you've never played that event before, you have to play it twice in the next 3 years. And so they have granted waivers to these players. In some cases, Mark, they make you play more tour events. You have to play the minimum of 15 events to remain a member of the PGA Tour. They'll grant you a waiver and they will make you play 3 additional events. So they've granted the waivers, but they're all conditionally depending on how many times they've played Pebble in the past. Now, most everybody here has played Pebble before. So I guess sometime in the next 2 years, they have to play Pebble again. And then that's their punishment. But What's interesting is that if they don't, then quote, they will be punished. And I'm thinking to myself, how hard you going to drop the hammer on these guys?
Punished?
Yes.
What I'm going to pay attention to, David, is if they actually force them to play. Because, David, my back hurts.
Right.
Tell me it doesn't. I'm an independent contractor. My doctor says here my back hurts. I got to take the week off.
Oh, I saw you hobbling down the hallway.
Right. I in fact, providing we're still working, which is a hell of an assumption.
Always a big if.
2 years from now, how many of these guys will have played in 1 or 2 and not played back in Saudi Arabia? Because I literally could see DJ going, yeah, right.
Well, and Phil, for that matter, going, I've played this event like 20-something times.
Correct. So you want me not to play Champions Tour events? Because I can just retire. I mean, Phil could look him dead in the eye and go, here are your choices. I can do whatever that I want. Or you can say you're going to punish me and I'm going to retire. And I'm just going to exclusively play European events, South African events, Australian events, and I'll never lace them up in this country unless it's at Augusta. Good luck, boys.
Or like you even said, Phil's kind of a draw on that Champions Tour if he decides to play.
He's the draw on the Champions Tour.
Right.
Because the guy that played in the father's son ain't playing on the Champions Tour.
Well, I will say it is interesting. You're allowed to have carts there.
I gotcha.
He's 46 at the end of the year. His birthday's, I think, the 30th or 31st. I think it's the 30th. I think him and LeBron have the same birthday. So I think one's 46 and the other turns 37.
Well, we'll definitely find out next week because we're working.
Yes, we will.
I mean, those seem to be pretty big birthdays on that. Today was a day one thing that you do.
It'll make the list. It will make the list. Miller and Moulton.
Hoping to make your list.
Right.
Naughty or nice. We think we know where we stand.
The starting 5 is next. Thanks for waking up with us in some way, shape, or form here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home training system. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Yin Yang has made his annual pick of the 2021 Chick-fil-A Bowl, Panda Pick'em, in his 6th year of the not always accurate prediction.
This was the opening kickoff of the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
That's how you get it started.
Yeah. Old Dominion.
God, if that was Notre Dame, it would be so much cooler.
Taking it to the house. And then Tulsa just manhandled them. Just manhandled them. 2 touchdowns, 2 minutes into the game. That's how we roll.
I guess Gottlieb took a lot of crap because he just lives to make dumb comments to get him to make himself sound like a racist, I think. Because I don't think he is.
No.
I don't think he is at all. But, I don't necessarily think it's because he just went after the HB.
CUs. Yeah, he thinks it's ridiculous that he chose Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, and when all it cost him his career, he's going to have a harder time getting to the NFL. And
he just said,
I just think I don't think you need to have that take. I think that to me is a take where I'm going, if I was said, here's what I'm doing today, and you're my producer, I would go, if you told me you were going to do that and I'm producing your show, I'd go, Why?
Well, I do think it's how he genuinely feels.
I know,
Like,
but
I don't think he takes
I don't think he's Skip
positions to-
Bayless. But
right.
I'm like, I get that you feel that way. Do you really think that needs to be the crux to your show today? That's all.
Well,
I would, and if you do, that's fine.
but if he genuinely feels it, then I would be like, go for it. Just please know the grief you're going to get. And if he goes, yeah, I'm good with that.
Well, I actually think he likes the grief.
Well, I think gets him recognized.
I love these. Good morning. It's been 765 days since Michigan last beat Michigan State in football. Good for you. Good for you, Lucas.
You know, Embiid's pretty good.
I freaking love Joel Embiid. The
Look at
process.
this. Look at this.
Come on. 3 straight mid-range jumpers to seal the game. He's 7-1.
Van Gundy had I was telling Philly, Van Gundy had a pretty interesting comment the other day. You know, for all the grief we're giving Zion, he still played 3 times as many games his first 3 years that Embiid did.
Facts are facts.
Right? I'm like, ooh, I said that to him. He goes, you know, I mean, he just,
Yep.
love it. David, we had a brawl in the Ghana parliament today.
Love. I mean, I prefer it when it's in, you know, the UK.
Well, it's just, oh God, they
With the wigs and
the still they've got of this guy's face. A brawl is broken out in Ghana's parliament during a late night session over a contentious government proposed levy on electronic transactions. Love a good parliament brawl.
Who doesn't?
One minute.
Wow, it's been a rough week for the dude that's Mr. Big there in Sex and the City. Turns out he's not a very good guy.
Apparently not. And he lost his job on the Equalizer.
Did he?
Yeah.
He lost his talent agency, I guess, too, yesterday. They dumped him.
Oh, that's not good.
His wife was pretty angry, too, apparently.
30 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for making us part of your day. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Will be off each of the next 2 Fridays, Christmas and New Year's Eve. That is it. Otherwise, we are doing shows. Hope you've got everything taken care of. Start mailing stuff out today. You're taking your chances.
I'm a wreck. This whole non-car thing has just completely.
But you got one now, right?
No.
Wait. Oh, you didn't tell me. You were supposed to get one Thursday.
Yeah. I was supposed to get it Wednesday, too. And then I was supposed to get it yesterday. No car.
No car?
No car.
Well, that's
starting to really be a pain in the ass.
well, not just to you. I think to all the people who are loaning you their cars too.
I haven't had a loaner in a while. I've been golf carting and getting rides from the wife. This really sucks.
Well, I can't golf cart it today. The weather's too bad in Southwest
kidding.
Florida. Going to get worse in Tampa, St. Pete, but apparently supposed to clear up in the afternoon. So that's good. Not so much maybe in the 239, but clearing in the Tampa, St. Pete area this afternoon. Going to get worse in the morning and then get better in the afternoon. It is time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
We had 2 games on Monday Night Football. The Raiders damn near put a fork in the Browns. I'll explain in a bit. 16-14, Daniel Carlson with a 48-yarder at the gun. Both teams are now 7-7 on the season. It was an ugly game. And then there was another ugly game to follow it. The Vikings. Kirk Cousins threw for 80 yards, something ridiculous like that. And the Bears scored their only touchdown on the final play of the game. 17-9 Vikings. The Vikings win gets them to 7-7. Unlike the Raiders and Browns, who are both 7-7, they're both damn near out of it. The Vikings at 7-7 at this moment in time are the 7 seed in the NFC. Their conference record has them ahead of New Orleans, who was the 7 seed 24 hours ago. However, the Vikings could be out of the playoffs depending on the outcome of one of the 2 games tonight, Washington and Philly. If Washington wins, they're the 7. If Philly wins, Minnesota's still the 7.
Please don't repeat that.
No. We're going to have lots of quizzes between now and January 9th.
Wow.
But here's something I do just want to quickly explain. In the NFC, because it's jambalaya, and so everybody thinks they're still in it. You know, Vegas, Miami, Cleveland, Denver. The problem is you need to look closely at their conference records. Denver's 7-7, but their conference record's 3-6.
I think the most important thing and why people are putting those teams in there is that, yes, if they all were to win their final 3 games and throw up a 10-7, they're going to be in. But the fact of the matter is, it has been damn hard to get a 3-game winning streak in the National Football League this year.
Well, and especially if you're these teams. I mean, if you're 7-7, you haven't rattled off many 3-game winning streaks.
Right.
Now, the Steelers did rattle off a 4-game winning streak, and they're 7-6-1. But our point is, especially Miami, Cleveland, and Denver, your conference records are not good. You are unlikely to get in a 9-8 tiebreaker situation. You need to win out,
Which would be 9 in a row for the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, it would.
I mean, look it. We told you that the 6-game winning streak could happen. Once they beat Baltimore, it laid out there for you. That said, okay, well, they're playing a lot of teams that they are technically as good, if not better than. But with that 6-game winning streak, there's a 7-game winning streak in the league by the Chiefs right now. The next 2 longest winning streaks are the Cowboys and the Packers at 3. It just doesn't happen this year.
Now, I will say this. The Raiders are 7-7. Their conference record's 5-4. All 3 remaining games are AFC games. If they were to win out, they'd be not just 10-7. They'd have an 8-4 conference record. If the Raiders win out, I'd bet money right now they'd be in.
If they go 2-1, their chances would still be pretty decent.
With a 7-5 conference record. Exactly.
They would.
So of the 7-7 teams that are out, the Raiders right now have the best chance from a tiebreaker standpoint of getting in. Remember, Indy, the Chargers, and the Bills are in at 8-6. The Ravens are out as of today in the just mess that is the AFC huge games this coming weekend, by the way, with Buffalo, New England, and Baltimore, Cincinnati.
And even, it makes Philadelphia and Washington tonight, I also think, a big game because
Yes.
obviously, unless there's a tie in that game, there will be 21 teams in the National Football League with a record of 500 or better. Right now, there are 20. 2 6 and 7 teams are playing each other tonight, providing we don't have another tie.
So 2/3 of the league will be 500 or better.
Right.
But of the 21, 7 of them are guaranteed to miss the playoffs.
Bingo.
So in other words, it's just a bloody mess.
And by the way, if you're not one of those 21 teams, do you know how bad your life is right now? I mean, my goodness, there is some bad in the NFL. There's a lot of mediocre, David, but with a lot of mediocre in 21 teams over 500, there is some really bad out there.
Well, and there's only 3 teams below 500 in the whole AFC. 13 of the 16 teams in that conference are 500 or better. We're talking to you, Jets, Houston, and Jacksonville. We're looking at you.
Yeah, 8 wins combined there, gang.
Jags are on the clock right now. Once again, number 1 pick because they're 2-12, and the Lions are 2-11-1. Isn't it Jets Jags this week?
Yes.
It's Jets Jags.
Boy, Lions, you got to be pulling for the Jags.
Chris Godwin, not a laughing matter. Torn ACL. Listen, Bruce Arians said all the right things yesterday. He said it was a legal play. I don't believe he used the word clean. He kept saying it was a legal hit. It was a dirty hit. Okay. And I think that, and Bruce Arians did say it is a hit, and I understand we're limiting where it is defenders can hit offensive players, but he said, I think that's a hit we have to look at. And I agree with him. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it since we have now legislated it to the point where there's about a 3-foot area that guys can get hit.
Yeah, basically where the flag used to be.
But I thought it was a cheap hit. I understand
You
it
said
was
it
legal.
yesterday.
I thought it was dirty, actually. I thought it was a dirty hit. He, in no way, shape, or form, by the way, did he try to tackle him. He just went right at his knees. Godwin torn ACL, right knee, I believe, out for the rest of the year. Obviously, Mike Evans going to miss some time with a hamstring. Leonard Fournette, the same. Levante David with a foot injury that needs to be monitored. Antonio Brown reinstated, likely starting Sunday against Carolina. Giants shut down quarterback Daniel Jones. Travis Kelce put on the COVID list. 47 NFL players yesterday tested positive for COVID. Chargers Joey Bosa, one of them, and he's already been ruled out for Sunday. That tells me that he's unvaccinated. Because if you're vaccinated and you test positive, back-to-back clean tests and you can play. You're unvaccinated, it's 10 days. NHL, speaking of COVID, reports are that officially today, the NHL is going to announce that they are pausing 2 days early this week. The NHL normally takes Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas off. They don't play. Well, now they're going to take from the 22nd through the 26th off. It means that the last 2 games in the NHL for this week will be Washington at Philly tonight and the Lightning in Vegas take on the Golden Knights.
Make sure your fantasy hockey lineups are adjusted accordingly.
Very much so. There were 5 games scheduled for last night. This is how big a problem COVID is in the NHL. 5 games scheduled, 1 got played. Dallas beat Minnesota 7-4. And so now everybody's looking at the NBA. COVID isn't as big a problem yet. 1 game was postponed yesterday. That's Orlando at Toronto. But what is the league going to do, if anything? Their vaunted Christmas Day lineup. The NBA has to be holding their breath.
They're freaking out. I mean, it was bad enough when the NFL said, we're playing on Christmas Day.
Right.
Now they may lose the entire day to the National Football League, arguably their biggest regular season day of the year.
I don't know that there's any arguing about it. So the NBA just hoping that in the next 48 hours, they don't have the breakout that has happened of COVID in the NHL. Some college hoops yesterday. Baylor, by the way, the new polls came out. They're a near unanimous number one. They're 11-0. They won by 37 last night. Purdue is number 3. Gonzaga is number 4, and they both won comfortably last night. How do you feel about teams having to not play because of COVID being charged with a loss? Because certain conferences are doing that. The Pac-12 is doing that. All right. The Big East is doing that. Seton Hall, ranked 15th in the country, has had a little bit of COVID outbreak. They had to cancel a game over the weekend. They couldn't play against St. John's last night. St. John's won by forfeit, according to the Big East.
I don't get it. David, I could argue that if you see, I don't get this at college at all. Because in the pros, if you wanted to say, hey, everybody's got to get vaccinated, and if you forfeit because guys weren't vaccinated, you want to put something in. I don't know how you get away with this at the college level, David. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't seem right to me.
Well, it's going league by league. Some leagues are just like, we'll reschedule.
Once again,
right?
No commissioner for college sports.
USC is undefeated, ranked in the top 10, but they've got a little bit of a COVID problem. Now, they had a non-conference game that got canceled against Oklahoma State, but if they've got a conference game coming up here soon, they may have to forfeit.
Well, let's just hope the committee, literally has to throw these games out.
Well, that will be very interesting. A team comes in, their record's 23-9. 3 of the losses are by COVID forfeit. Don't you have to judge them a little differently?
Yes.
Hurricanes beat Stetson 82-72 last night. FIU's game was canceled because of COVID. Couple of women's hoops notes. UConn out of the top 10 for the first time in 16 years.
Oh, my goodness.
313 straight weeks they had been ranked in the top 10. They fell to 11th in the AP poll yesterday. South Florida is 18th in the country. They beat West Virginia by 22. Game of the day in women's college hoops, though, in West Palm there. FGCU in double overtime beat Michigan State 85-84, despite Nia Cloudon's 50 for Michigan State, which ties the all-time record, men's or women's, at that school, and they've played a little basketball there.
Believe it's the pride of Saginaw High, Terry Furlow, with 50 in 76. I know the name's right. I'm almost positive Terry Furlow's a Saginaw High grad. By the way, how many weeks for UConn in the chart? In the
313. Now, remember, obviously, it's not a 52-week season. I mean, you go, well, that's only 6 years. Well, yeah, they do about 15 weeks a year.
Right. To put that in perspective, Dark Side of the Moon was on the charts for 958 weeks, but that's consecutive.
Correct.
This streak's actually longer.
2005, the last time UConn was not in the top 10. Quickly, Major League Baseball, the A's promote from within. Mark Kotze, former Marlin, gets the job. He had been their third base coach. Before that, he was a bench coach. College football, Tulsa won the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and they covered against Old Dominion 30-17. 2 more bowl games today. The Idaho Potato Bowl, Kent State and Wyoming, and the Tropical Smoothie Frisco Bowl, UTSA against San Diego State.
I love me a smoothie.
So that's your bowl game of choice?
That's the one I'm into today.
I think Idaho potatoes this afternoon and smoothie is tonight.
I was wrong on Terry Furlow, Flint Northern.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm going to get somebody to yell at me if I don't correct myself on that.
It might be Mr. Furlow. And the story we mentioned a moment ago, 30 PGA Tour players received permission, literally, from the PGA Tour to play in the Saudi Arabia Invitational, but they need to make it up down the road by playing Pebble Beach sometime in the next 2 years. And that, guys, is...
That was the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you have it. A lot going on. Roy Cummings to talk all things Bucs in an hour. Pat Kirwan to talk all things the rest of the NFL in an hour and a half.
And we will have to bring up the NFL and COVID with Pat, because now 2 more games today. With the Christmas week, I'm guessing there's going to be more problems.
I just realized it. The NFL's having their old bowl week. Is Capital One sponsoring this week?
No. And if they knew they could have gotten a sponsor, David, they would have definitely gone for getting one. They like money quite a bit.
Poll question on the other side. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. The Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M, only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Oh, I didn't even realize that he was in the hallway. I didn't see the follow-up. He was actually in the hallway waiting for the cue. They never gave him the cue. Because the rumor was he might have been in line getting a beer, going to the bathroom.
Right. By the way, we are under a tornado watch till 10 a.m.
Yes. I saw that myself, my WeatherBug app. They're pretty much done raining there, looks like. I mean, it's raining now, but it's not going to be raining at 10. Oh, no, they're getting rain all day, too, aren't they?
Well, they're getting it, I think, till the early afternoon.
Yeah,
Hey, Paula. For the winter, so like through March. Philly, you got a poll question? And you do realize if you give us a basketball one, the chances of it seeing the light of day are very small. It would have to be phenomenal. And phenomenal in our eyes, not your eyes. Not like, what's his face is 13 points in 30 seconds there.
Oh, my God.
Which only you are familiar with.
Does it have to be a sports question?
Yes.
Yeah, because we have a non-sports one today.
Right. Oh. Hinstar must be new. Yeah, he's new. Because he says, "What's wrong with basketball?" LOL.
Nothing.
Nothing's wrong with basketball.
Except our audience doesn't like it. Our dog with the storms been barking all morning. I was barking when I was.
Do you ever give it? Do you ever give him?
Oh yeah, it doesn't. The thing's indestructible. It just fights right through it.
No. I just didn't know if you ever tried the Xanax.
I'm so sorry I disrespected you.
We've got stuff that they gave us.
It's not called Xanax. It's called.
I mean, I want to give it Benadryl, but that's besides the point.
No, but the Xanax works. Doggies. I mean, that's what we give Frank. He's like usually shake. I mean, I'm talking like the violent shakes. I don't know if we thought maybe it's the light, not just the thunder, but the lightning, because he's in our bedroom and we put blackout curtains up.
Right.
And this morning, I'm not like, we both looked at each other like, is he just going deaf? Because he wasn't nearly like, we didn't give him drugs this morning. Now, Eve may have after I left.
Instar.
But dog's already pooped in the house.
Oh.
Ooh.
No.
Instar, I'm running the social media of the City of Palms Classic, so I personally love basketball, if that's any indication of anything. But
No, we
we're
don't.
going back now.
We
Don't care.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
A minute and a half past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network. Be careful in the 239. I mean, it's raining in the Tampa-St. Pete area, and it is going to throughout the morning. It is supposed to clear up, however, in the afternoon. Meanwhile, you don't hear this very often in Southwest Florida. Tornado watch until 10 a.m. So, basically, a little bit more towards the northern part of Southwest Florida, but tornado watch till 10 a.m. So, when we give the weather folks a hard time, all right, they're going to go a little crazy today. You need to understand it. And that includes us, too. I'm saying that for Miller and Moulton as well. We give them a hard time. They overreact often, but at least till 10 a.m., we got to let them freak out a little bit.
If you say so.
Yep.
If the watch becomes a warning, then they can freak out.
Well, come on now. I just, we don't hear that word very often on the west coast of Florida, tornado. So I just, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt till 10 a.m. After that, I think they have to ask permission, kind of like those 30 golfers on the PGA Tour. See what I did there?
I do. In case you missed that story, the PGA Tour is okaying 30 of their members the ability to play in a cash grab in Saudi Arabia.
Right. Because if they don't, there's this World Golf Tour looming, and they fear that some guys might leave. Like, let's be honest. If you're Phil, how much of a hit does your legacy take? I mean, you're 51 years old. I mean, you're only playing for the majors now anyway.
Phil's legacy takes zero hit with anything he does golf-wise. The only way Phil's legacy could take a hit is if something happened to him away from golf. And I'm being serious when I say that. There's nothing he could do. He wants to join this Saudi Arabian cash grab tour that they're trying to start. Who cares? He's, Justin Thomas does it. Now we're going to be a little upset because he would perhaps, if he and Schauffele and all these young hot golfers said, we're going to go join it, we'd be angry.
Well, and it would be interesting to see how the PGA Tour would handle it, because they're threatening as if you go over to that tour and even play in one event, you're barred from the PGA Tour. That's what they're threatening.
Well, here, let me just ask you this. I'm leery to go down this road, but I've had a ball I can go down a TikTok hole, but there happens to be a lady that cracks me up who's a Gen Xer, and she kind of just talks about how the lack of what's our generation gives and how we didn't get caught up in this. The younger generations are way more caught up in the PC world that we live in. So, David, if Phil goes and plays in a cash grab tour in Saudi Arabia, where they call this now sport washing is the name they've given it, where countries like China and Saudi Arabia bring in big events, bring in big stars to make their countries look better and try to wash away their human rights atrocities that they've committed throughout time.
Yeah, the World Cup in Qatar.
Right. So back to the notion that the Gen Xers don't really care, how much would it bother you if Phil started playing on that tour?
It wouldn't bother me. What I think would be most interesting, though, is would it impact his Ryder Cup future? And I don't mean as a player. That's what I'm wondering. That's PGA America, and would the politics of golf, is that how they would get back at Phil? Because obviously we know Phil's going to be Ryder Cup captain one day.
At some point. All right, Felipe, let me ask you, and I know you're not a golf guy, you're a basketball guy, but I'll just throw it in that standpoint. Obviously LeBron took a big hit with not saying anything about China or Hong Kong and all that controversy. Do you think less of any of the NBA players, and you are a gigantic NBA fan, that's your favorite sport, do you think less the same or the lesser the same of players, which one is it, of them not making stands when they make stands on everything that involves this country? I'm just curious.
The thing is, I'm kind of in the middle with this because I respect people for speaking out and people that want to keep it to themselves. They're humans. At the end of the day, they can do whatever the hell.
But it doesn't make you think less of them.
No.
If they speak out or don't speak out. Okay.
No.
Because that's really the question, is that would the public, the younger public, if JT and Schauffele and that next group go, would they take the hit? Because it seems, I'm not a millennial, I'm not a Gen Zer. It seems that they care about these things more than we do, David.
And for the record, JT seems to be somebody who's totally all in on the PGA Tour. Bryson DeChambeau has not given off that vibe.
Well, that's the perfect name then, because Bryson DeChambeau is the only other guy not named Tiger that actually moves the needle and eyelash. Justin Thomas doesn't move it. Bryson DeChambeau moves the needle a little bit.
And I know Phil moves the needle, but we don't consider him a tour player anymore, even though he just won the PGA.
But again, I'm going to leave the Gen Xer out of this because I'm far more concerned with what the younger public thinks about Bryson, because a lot of my friends can't stand him because he's arrogant and cocky. Now, I've watched the tournaments. Young people like Bryson a lot.
Yeah. There's that side that's attracted to young and cocky.
And I will say that whole thing, the match between he and Koepka, backfired horribly. Everybody liked it a lot better when they didn't like one another.
Right.
You guys weren't supposed to make up, at least publicly.
So Koepka's also someone who has intimated, well, we're independent contractors. I mean, Koepka, who's all but said, listen, I really only care about the majors. I play the other stuff to keep my game fresh, to keep my tour card. But, I really care about 4 tournaments a year.
Yeah, and that's all he's ever said. And he believes it.
Yeah.
He's actually said what most golfers think, and he said it out loud.
Correct.
I actually think Koepka has a bigger following with the young crowd than DeChambeau. I mean, they both do.
One's got the Barstool crowd, and one's got the golf crowd. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
But there are a lot of DeChambeau fans. I mean, when you watch golf tournaments, and I didn't get it until it was the Arnie's tournament a couple of years ago when he was trying to drive that par 5.
Right, and he did.
And people were in.
Yes,
that was a big turning moment for DeChambeau. And then the Ryder Cup obviously helped tremendously his Q score. But so that's where I am with that, David.
DC in our Twitch chat room wonders, could these players, if it ever came where the PGA Tour was kicking them off the tour, could they get a sponsor exemption? My understanding is technically yes, but how much pressure do you think the PGA Tour would be putting on their sponsors, which is delicate enough as it is? But, I mean, if the PGA Tour is going to go all in on this, you figure they're going to go all in, and they're not just going to lean on the players. They're also going to lean on sponsors. But, I mean, listen, you and I have a little bit of blankety blank in us.
Oh,
That's why we're on our third act. But if you're, I mean, that's just the truth.
Had to put it that way,
Yeah,
didn't you?
But I mean, if you're DeChambeau and you're Koepka especially, I mean, isn't there a part of you that's thinking, okay, kick me off the tour? Yeah, that's cute. That's funny. All right. Especially since, I mean, they'd be like, hold on a second. And especially in Koepka's case. I'm sorry. I won 2 of these and 2 of these. Do you know what that gives me in terms of status on tour?
Hey, David, of the 4 majors, which one does the tour have any say-so over?
That would be 0.
Oh, so it wouldn't affect him. The PGA, maybe?
I think the tour would beg the PGA of America to, hey, you got to back us on this.
Well, it depends, though, because has he won a PGA? Koepka does not want a PGA.
Yeah, he's won 2.
He's won 2. So
he's won 2 Opens, 2 PGAs.
His exemption for winning is 10 years, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm trying to think, is it 10 years for the tour? Or are you talking, see, I thought you win the PGA, you can play it.
I thought it was 10 years, but
okay.
Either way.
Right.
Either way, it's a past champion.
Correct.
Good luck keeping him off that. They have nothing to do with the British. They have nothing to do with the U.S. Open, and they certainly have nothing to do with the Masters. Here's the thing. David, they could kick him off. He could look at him and laugh.
Right.
And then when the Memorial or whatever says, yeah, I want to put a sponsor's exemption in, I'm going to put Koepka. You can't. What do you mean I can't?
Sorry.
I'm serious.
I'm sorry. This is our tournament, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate your input, and we gave you a fair hearing.
This has a lot of college football to it. You know, it really does. I'm sorry, Mr. Sankey, you want to do what? Whatever the hell I want.
Right.
Now I'm rooting for these guys to play on the tour.
Well, I'm rooting for like 2. And I really think it's Koepka and or DeChambeau. That would be funny, by the way, if Bonnie and Clyde there took their act over to this tour.
It really would.
But these guys are independent contractors. See, to me, it's the whole, this is really testing the entire foundation of the PGA Tour. Do you know what I think ultimately is going to happen? The tour has had, even though they say, it's the Players Tour, it's been the PGA Tour's tour. They've done a lot more dictating than the players have.
Right. But the players have gotten incredibly wealthy, all because of one Tiger Woods.
And I think that this is going to lead, Mark, to the players in the next 5 years. They're going to take their power. They're going to now turn around and look at the tour and go, so you really need us, don't you? That's what you're
the
really
only
saying.
thing that I would find fascinating on this, again, because of the sport washing and where this tour is going to be played, it'll end up with a lot of Middle Eastern events. It
Right.
will.
Absolutely.
The Gulf media is the softest media in terms of attacking a player's beliefs.
Right.
Anything they've done. They're lapdogs. They're as bad as college football. Would they turn on anyone? Would they then go, baseball's gone after players. Basketball's gone after players. Football's gone after the media. Would the Gulf media make these guys out to be villains?
Okay. Who in the golf media that you think has the sway over the golf crowd? I mean, I like Brandel Chamblee because he's willing to give an opinion and he's willing to not kiss everybody's butt.
It would be all of them, David. It's not one. What I'm saying is collectively the Gulf media would have to out these guys, and I don't ever see that happening.
See, and I don't think they would, because they're also the same guys who for 20, 30 years have been saying and writing these guys are independent contractors and they should be allowed to play and do whatever they want.
David, like I just said, I wholeheartedly agree with you, but I'm the only way to me is if, and it would almost be the new batch of young writers that's covering young players, pointing out what it is they're doing, that they're taking blood money. And would that change anybody's opinion? I don't know if it will.
I think it would have to be the sponsors. I think it would have to be these players' sponsors saying, guys, you can't do this. And I don't think they would. In fact, I think in some cases they might encourage them.
Because it would expand their brand, David.
14 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't give a fuck. I'll let them in.
I would too, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I don't want it to be a clandestine event to bring someone into the
So
building.
damn
I just-
tired.
I'd love for them
Twitch
to check
chat.
this out. You know how great that's
I have a
gonna be.
17-hour
We
work
get
day
national
today.
pub with that one.
I had to wake up for the
Start around the
show,
bedroom again.
and I'm going straight
Out of your
to
bedroom or
Suncoast
both of our
Credit
bedrooms.
Union Arena,
Okay, that'd be great.
where I will
All
be
gentry.
covering basketball
Squares
games
together.
till about
Either
11:30.
that, or hell, we just
Go right to Gentry's.
Yeah.
It's another reason I want a
or
car
we
because
go downtown.
it's another reason I want a car.
Today's
'Cause then I
second
could
to
just
last
pop over
day.
at Gentry's and I
Tomorrow's
hate
the
calling
last
like, hey,
day.
I'm gonna stop over. I want to. A lot of stuff I'd like to just sit with him for an hour. And
So golf, I believe, is the hardest individual sport and maybe the hardest sport. But do you think that tennis requires you to be more
Yes.
of a physical specimen?
Yes.
Yes.
tennis players
It's
are
physic-
great athletes.
Yes. The physical toll.
Look at
in
it when you
tennis.
see how big. Until you stand next to one of them, I was lucky enough to go to
Yes.
Wimbledon when I was your
Wow.
age. And I was
Really?
watching Boris Becker warm up.
That's cool.
That's a flipping. And
That's
I watched Steffi warm up. I got lucky enough to see the men's and women's finals on the same day because of rain. It's only happened a handful of times. And I watched it. Steffi is not pretty, especially then. That woman's physique, and I was 20 years old. Steffi Graf was, we were all, 3 of us were just looking at her going, oh my God. And I don't mean like gawking. I mean like she's chiseled and she, back then it's like, yeah, she could have sex with you and then she could just kick the crap out of you after.
yeah.
I mean, that gal, holy Toledo. And Wimbledon's so small. That is the one thing that blew me away is just how small it is.
Now, who was the really, really, I don't know, it might have been, is Steffi Graf, she's from Miami or no?
DC,
No,
we are
she's from
not in
Germany.
DC. We are not in Jupiter yet. We are working very hard with the West Palm sports station to hope to land them in the first quarter of 2022.
But who was the really good women's tennis player that was from Miami?
Chris Evert?
What about the Capriati?
No, I think it.
I would have gone Capriati.
Yeah, she was.
Is Tracy Austin from over there? I don't know. If she's California
No,
or Florida.
I thought she was California.
Might have been Chris, but whatever. Someone who was really good. Went to high school with my aunt.
So get this: DePaul now has to forfeit their Thursday game against Seton Hall.
Wow.
Well, here's the funny thing: I don't know if Seton Hall could have played because Seton Hall just forfeited their game against St. John's last night. So DePaul, the home team, has to forfeit because of COVID. Seton Hall gets a win. I don't know if Seton Hall could have gotten on the plane.
I was gonna say.
Well, Paul's a team that could end up being on a bubble.
Yeah.
That's about what they're supposed to be this year,
Yeah,
right?
DePaul's having
Like
a good year.
They're not bad.
Right.
As much as I love the thought of the word bubble, being a Heat fan, just don't say that, please.
Stop it. It ain't gonna happen.
Don't give me that thought. All right, we're coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
20 minutes past the hour, top of the morning. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. A tornado watch in effect in Southwest Florida until 10 o'clock. Rain all morning in Tampa, St. Pete, and then clears up in the afternoon. So just be careful out there driving around, and take note, especially in the 239, if you hear sirens and the like.
So something happened on Sunday that I had not ever remembered seeing or hearing about. And of course it happened at a Miami Dolphins football game, because where would unusual things occur that would make more sense than at a Dolphins game? Now, I've worked in minor pro sports for a good majority of my life before doing this. And to say I'm cynical over stupid things at minor league games would be a vast understatement. But every year at every minor league venue, probably every venue, some game day operations person is hit up with the, hey, I want to propose to my girlfriend at the game. Yippee, yay.
Wow, you're really selling that.
Oh, it's nothing that, I mean, all I've ever wanted is for one of these proposals to come up and have the girl look at the guy and go, at a game, are you kidding me? No, and leave.
So you never, in the 20 years that you did it, you never got a no?
Never.
Darn.
Wanted one badly.
Did you ever say no, by the way? Did somebody come up to you and say, hey, I want to propose, and you just went, nah, we're not interested?
If they would have asked me, that's exactly the answer I would have given them.
So,
but no, I was never allowed to.
Right. It's business.
Right.
Yes.
So Sunday at the Dolphins game, dude finally, wants to pop the question.
Right. Wants to propose.
Right. Paid his money to get the picture up on the Jumbotron.
Right.
Saying, will you marry me?
That's pretty much the standard question.
They zoom down to the happy couple in the stands to find a girl with her mouth agape and the guy not there.
Oh, that's a problem.
Now, I was excited. I thought he got cold feet and said, to hell with this.
I figured he was
the cheerleader winked at me and I'm taking her out. Let's go to Tootsie's and let's get to the champagne room now.
I figured he was just in line getting a couple beers.
Well, David, apparently that was the case, or maybe he didn't get his cue, and he did make it out. They shared a lovely kiss. She said yes, and they'll get divorced in the next 3 to 5 years.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. You really think the successful marriage rate is any higher or lower depending on the venue in which the proposal takes place?
Yes. I think the lowest chance of marriage success happens at proposals at sporting events.
This clearly is unscientific. This is a hell of a theory you have here.
All right. First off, this means that, and I love women who like sports. I'm not trying to even get to that. But this means that the woman probably likes the team essentially more than she likes you.
No.
If any one of the offensive linemen ask her out, she's leaving you for them.
Well, maybe some of them are on her list. We have a list of 5, the list of 5 men and women that, each can just leave the other 4.
Right, but it can't be 5 position groups.
Wow.
I know I opened myself up for
I
a
was
whole
gonna say,
lot there.
You're taking us down just remember our wives are listening right now. Continue.
I just meant offensive line, defensive line, etc.
Gotcha. Glad you clarified that.
I am too. I thought it was funny. I liked this one better than most.
Yeah, because the guy missed his cue and he wasn't there or didn't get his cue. Now the updated story is that the guy wasn't in line getting 2 beers.
He was waiting to get his cue from the Dolphins people. They didn't give it to him.
Right.
So their franchise from top to bottom can screw up anything.
We'll say, can we put ourselves in the shoes of the young lady sitting there and all of a sudden she looks up at the scoreboard at Hard Rock Stadium there?
Well, even worse, what if she's just, sitting there? Think about it. If either of us are at a game and maybe it's downtime and the other one leaves, what are the chances of us going to Twitter? You're sitting there by yourself. You're probably going to grab your phone. You might be perusing your phone for a second if there's not live action going on. Then you have to actually look at the scoreboard. So my guess is she got a tap.
Right. So
Hey.
I think that's you.
Hey, I think that's you. I would like to interview her. I have no interest in interviewing him. I would love, Felipe, you've got a job. I want you to find this young lady.
Track her down, Felipe.
I will be nice. I promise.
Track her down.
I will not say anything about the impending
Stop
doom
it.
of their relationship.
That's what I find hysterical, that you genuinely believe that the divorce rate is higher amongst couples in which the proposal took place at a sporting event than in the rest of society.
Yes.
Obviously, this is unscientific. I have to admit, you don't have a good reason to back up your theory.
All right. Mainly because we had one of these proposals when I worked for the Atlanta Knights hockey team, my first ever job in professional sports. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. But Gene Ubriaco, our head coach, he jumped all in. He had the guys basically form a line with their sticks at the couple after they were married, went down. That couple got divorced.
Well, but I mean, Mark.
So my track record of these at games is 1 for 1. It's a 100% divorce rate.
Mark, I mean, there's a 1 in 2 chance that every marriage, based on about a generation's worth of numbers here, there's a 1 in 2 chance that no matter where and when the proposal took place, that things are not going to work out. Yet you somehow believe that the makeup of the 2 individuals that would do this, and really it's the one individual because the other one may not even know it's coming.
Right.
I mean,
look at if the national average is right around 50%,
right?
I would venture to guess that we're at 66 plus.
No, come on. That's crazy. That's crazy. I would even argue the other way. I would even argue that if the 2 of them have something in common, okay, and to be stereotypical here, if the woman enjoys sports or enjoys watching sports with you that much, I think there's a better chance of success. I really do.
I know you do. And you have been happily married for a long, long time.
25 plus years.
Your wife would rather do anything on God's green earth than watch a sporting event.
But
and you would rather watch a sporting event than anything on God's green earth. Right? David, let me speak a little bit more from experience. We've both been married twice. I know nothing about your first marriage. My first marriage, my first wife was a sports maniac, thought she knew more about sports than I did. How well did that work out? This one likes sports, but would rather spend time with her daughter than watch a Steeler game now. This one's going along swimmingly. The defense rests.
I will say, well, okay, but I get to bring my witnesses. I will say this, and if my wife's listening, she's going to kill me. So apparently, I proposed in the Bahamas, and my theory was I'm going to get her on a boat. I'm going to take her to an island. She can't escape. she's got to say yes, right? I mean, I got to get a yes out of this. She can't leave me. Okay, I've got the tickets. I got the money. I planned the trip. I got her. Okay, basically, I've held her captive at a really nice resort. Okay, I got to get a yes out of this.
I got a fever. I don't know how Christopher Walken just walked in the room right there.
And, thankfully she said yes, and she was genuinely excited. The funny part of the story is she thought I was breaking up with her. Okay, true story. I just, as you know, what is my witness? She thought, last fling, and then I was moving on, and I'm like down on one knee. So I will say though, I don't know if she says yes if I take her to the local hockey team game.
I think she says no. I know her pretty well. I think she says no.
I don't think she would have been happy with that. So while I challenge your theory about the success of the marriage rate, I'm not a huge fan of the proposal at the sporting event thing, but hey, to each its own. All right. That's you, that's her, that's them. You got
I got you.
On.
I understand.
Right.
I understand. I don't think I owe anybody an apology, but we do have apologies to get to.
I think I have one thing to contribute. I had a promposal at a Marlins game. We're no longer dating.
Is that the same thing?
He didn't have anything to
I
contribute.
was going to say there's a little. Although when you're that age, a prom, going to the prom is a big deal.
But she said yes.
Of course she said yes.
What do you mean?
Of course. Is that a Marlins game? I would have run for the hills. If I was her father and she came back to me and said, "You said yes? Are you kidding me? This guy's a loser."
Well, it's funny because it was opening day, and that was the year that the first pitch of the season was an Ian Happ home run. Remember that? So maybe it was
no one remembers that.
It's the Marlins. No one.
I mean, Felipe, take this as you will. Dave Van Horn doesn't remember that. He called the game.
Not even sure Happ remembers it.
Okay, music in our Twitch chat room said, David, by your theory, Gilligan should have been married to Marianne. Hey, I don't think he ever popped the question. They were there 3 years.
Text 21,000. Text FSN radio to 21,000. I love them. They're coming in fast and furious. We'll get to these texts on the other side, and we have an apology.
What?
An apology to get to. A remarkable apology.
Are we apologizing?
Oh, no. The person who apologized, you will never guess, and who he apologized to makes it even more scary.
Huh. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
To the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M, only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Bette Midler's in trouble for calling West Virginia poor, illiterate, and strung out in a recent tweet.
Because she's a little upset about Joe Manchin, I guess.
Yeah. I do find it funny that if they don't all, I mean, you know, one guy's, hey. God, I wish we could get rid of the two-party system, David. Who is the 7 seed?
Minnesota and
No. Who will be the 7 seed in the AFC?
Oh, in the AFC?
The loser of the Ravens Bengals game.
No, I actually think who's in it now is who's going to be in it. I think the 7 teams that are in the playoffs now. That's interesting. Actually, both sides.
Right. Well, I've started with the AFC just for and giggles. You know, I mean, so Buffalo is the 7.
Right. The thing about the Bills is they've got 2 guaranteed wins after the Patriots, so they're going to get to 10.
Yes. Are the Chargers?
Klecko, that's sick.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
See, but you proposed on top. You didn't do it at the game.
Oh, Seth remembers the Ian Happ home run. It was the first game of the season. It was the very first pitch by Jose Urena. And he just
I'm sorry. Who was that? A breakfast delicacy there? What was that?
Speaking
you
of
uttered
breakfast,
there?
speaking of breakfast delicacies.
Hold on.
Jose Urena.
Okay.
Speaking of breakfast delicacies, providing I have a car tomorrow, can I take you to breakfast tomorrow? It's up by your place.
Sure.
I did. There was a thing for somebody had this thing for this artisan eatery place. It's right by kind of up by the Starbucks by the highway. It's in one of those places. I'm just like, oh, do you want to buy one, get one breakfast? I'm like, well, sure. Somehow I just got this random text. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll fill it out. And it's like, all right, you got 4 days to redeem this. I'm like, well, I'll see if Moulton wants to have breakfast Wednesday after the show.
Sure. What the heck?
Yes, it does, Klecko. Yes, it does. He was very envious of it. He thought that was very, very cool. You're a very hip cat. Is that better, Klecko? Do those words work better for you?
Vile one, I find that funny. I find that funny. You know who I thought had a good game last night from what I listened to? I thought Steve Levy had a good game last night.
Really?
Because he really went out of his way to like tee his analysts up. I mean, he was bringing up topics to tee them up to get them to talk and give strong opinions. And, you know, I'm not a huge fan of his play-by-play, but I thought last night he was good.
Was the 5 o'clock game also on ESPN or was that on?
No, NFL Network.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, Roy Cummings to join us at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan to join us in a little less than an hour. So we'll talk Bucs and then the rest of the NFL. A reminder, 2 games tonight, both at 7 o'clock, both televised by Fox. And no, they're not putting one on Fox and one on FS1, which I don't know what the legalities are, the NFL rules, but basically, I think you'd have to go to a sports bar tonight if you want to see both games. I mean, isn't sports bar red zone for tonight? Get both games, and will you be able to get?
I would think you
games
get
in a
them on the
bar?
package. If you have Sunday ticket, you should be able to get both games. I would be stunned if you don't.
Well, yeah, because in theory you would have gotten them on
Correct.
Sunday, so shouldn't you be able to get them tonight? But,
I'll let you know.
But if you don't have the package, then the guess is that basically they're going to split the country in half. Eastern half's going to see Philly and Washington. Western half's going to see the Rams and the Seahawks. I'm just going to throw this out there again. I know the Seahawks are 5-8, and we've written them all off. If they win tonight, they've got 2 damn near layups the next 2 weeks after that. This is like the Dolphins, all right, where the Seahawks all of a sudden could rattle off. If they win tonight, they could rattle off 5 in a row and be 8-8 heading into the final game of the season, which I think they have to go to Arizona.
That's correct.
So just throwing it out there. I know we've written them off for dead, but believe it or not, all right,
I mean,
tonight's their season.
I'm a little offended by this. You're saying that the 2 layups involve the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. Come on now.
Both in Seattle, which I do think helps.
I do too. I'm having a little fun there.
Right. Although, listen, hey, the Lions,
They've
obviously,
played hard all year.
They have. They've not always played well, but they've played hard. And Goff seems to be, finding himself with his parts, because they did that win also without the tight end. He's out for the rest of the year. So it was a really good effort by Detroit on Sunday. Cost a lot of people. A lot of people were backing up the truck on the Cardinals on Sunday.
It cost the possible first overall draft pick. A lot of people's reputations on television and radio. Yeah, a lot of those things.
I will say my back up the truck play Sunday was Buffalo.
It was.
Yeah, that was the one in which I'm like, man, they've lost 2 in a row. They are going to take it out of the Panthers.
Fortunately, you grabbed the Browns
right. I got lucky.
The 3.5. So David Moulton with a 3-2 week last week. I am guaranteed no worse than a 3-2 week. 3-1 heading into the game where I've got the Rams laying 4.5. That's at like 7 now.
Well, I mean, day to day with,
I know
who's playing, who's not. It's unbelievable.
But I wanted to get to an apology.
An apology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't ever recall this happening. After the Patriots' loss, Belichick was Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
6-minute press conference. Sighs, groans, and very short sentences.
Well,
we didn't play well enough to win.
He's right.
Exactly. So yesterday, he does his Zoom with the reporters.
All right.
And he starts by saying the following. Look, fellas, I apologize if I seemed like I was a little short with you after the game. He apologized to the media. Bill Belichick, I don't care if he meant it or not. He started a Zoom press conference by saying, look, fellas, I apologized if it seemed I was a little short with you after the game.
Oh, Mark, he's mellowing with age. And besides, he's one of us now. I mean, he got nominated for an Emmy for that top 100 NFL series there.
I mean, I was probably the most honest answer that Belichick's ever given the media, though. The next sentence, he says, obviously a frustrating game, down 20-0, didn't do anything well enough. I mean, there really isn't much to say at that point without watching the film. Okay, come on. For a Bill Belichick answer, that might be the most truth he's ever given the media in his life.
Sorry for being short, but
but we suck.
I mean, what is there to say? Jonathan Taylor's still running. Just, and for the first 3 quarters, I mean, we couldn't really do much offensively. Mac Jones, I mean, it would have been great if after the podium, after the game, he stepped to the podium and he said, well, Mac looked like a rookie tonight. You know?
Don't know what to tell you. You've been waiting for this all year.
Right. So Bill Belichick with the apology. Man, 2021's been something. Hasn't been 2020, but it's been something. Man, oh man. I like it though. I like it. It is tough to ask the questions after a loss though, because they can just look at you and go, I don't know what happened. If I had known, I would have fixed it.
Right. When I watch the film, I'll be able to give you a lot better read on what happened and where we screwed up.
But you know, you're sitting there though as a member of the media, never mind the fans. If you're watching it, and you're thinking, "Oh, come on, you got to know something." I mean, you know what's going on, basically.
Well, yeah, and I think they're going to protect players because they obviously could say, well, on that play, it was Moulton completely missed a block.
92 had a rough day today.
I don't even need to watch the film to let you know that 92 missed 14 tackles. So I think that's the long and short of it. But come on. This is the same guy that answered every question with on to Cincinnati for the most part, just apologized in a Zoom call. I don't know. I find that strange.
We've had him on the show a few times in the past. Matt Chatham.
Yeah.
All right. Former Patriot, won 3 Super Bowls with him. And he, played a lot of special teams. So Chatham told the story recently. Was asked, about Belichick. And, what's it like? That sort of deal. And he gives an answer and he goes, well, he's direct. I mean, he is direct. It's not like you don't know where you stand. And so he told the story about a game in Denver, and Matt goes, I had a bad day. I had a penalty, and, I screwed up an assignment on a special teams play, and we lost. And so it's like a day or so later, and Belichick's addressing the room. And Matt goes, and, you've heard the legendary stories where he's not afraid to even go after Brady. And Matt goes, it was true. I mean, he sat there, called Tom out, and, we're all sitting there in front of everybody. And he says, all right, we gotta put this loss behind us. And, we struggled a little bit on offense, and, defense, they hit a couple big plays. And as for special teams, and as Matt's telling the story, he paused and he just said, blankety blank Matt Chatham. And he walked out of the room. And Matt goes, I kind of was wondering in the next 24 hours if I was going to be an expatriate. So, Bill's mellowing with age. Besides, come on, what are they, 9-5? He's having a good year. I mean, he had won 7 in a row, for goodness sakes.
David, I have bad news that is good news.
You're doing all this teasing effectively today. It's totally throwing me off.
I apologize. It's our poll question. It's a very simple poll question. Do you get a Christmas bonus? 1/3 of you get cash. Congratulations.
Yeah. Nice job.
A little less than 10% of you get a gift card. 57% are on the M&M plan.
Zip, zilch, nada?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, Sergeant Schultz.
Now, I have to admit, I wish that you all got a Christmas bonus of some kind.
Exactly.
But it does make me feel better that you don't.
That's why I said it's we're winning, but we'd rather be losing.
Correct.
I would much rather that 57% was on the cash side.
Right.
And that 1/3 of you weren't getting something.
Although it is comforting. It is a little
So,
comforting.
by the way, Felipe, in case you were expecting a Christmas bonus, well, I can't say anything. Who knows? Maybe out of nowhere, this new boss is going to rain cash down on us. I doubt it.
Felipe, once again, the biggest Christmas bonus I've ever received in this business. I am 56 years old. I have been working professionally since the summer of '86.
Hello.
I got 2 movie tickets and a $25 gift card for a ham. The cheapest ham in the place was $37.
What'd you go watch?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I think I gave the tickets to my wife, and she took my daughter to see something that a young girl would want to go see.
I received, when working for the local hockey team, the boss and I would exchange nice bottles of wine. That was always a Christmas thing. But I was given to get, if you know what I mean.
Right.
That doesn't really count.
Do you like The Office? You know, hey, everybody pulls a name out of a hat and you go buy something for that person.
I don't mind it. They do that at the wife's place.
Right.
And usually they do a pretty good job, but it takes a long time during the party for that to happen. So I'm against it, unless we're just going to have one massive pass them out all at once.
Yeah.
They went one by one for years.
Oh.
No, they went one by one for years. One of the doctors in the office has recently retired. She was at the party last night. She doesn't work there anymore.
Right.
Walked up to the boss and said, how about we get all these gifts passed out at once? Took the whole party over. I love her. Love her.
Outstanding.
Still running the show, yet not working there.
That's fantastic.
That's how you get it done.
And while not working there now,
Can
walk
really-
up to the boss
Yep.
and say whatever they want. That's fantastic.
Yep. Liked enough that they bring her back, but not enough that they want her there anymore.
B. Wayne in our Twitch chat room says sometimes we get an attaboy.
Gator Nation on Twitter says, does getting a Christmas lunch count as a bonus?
I don't think so,
No.
because I'm assuming that's not a lunch just for you.
Well, it's a lunch for the staff. I mean, then they all get it. But I mean, if your lunch bonus is, that means your lunch bonus is like $10. 15 now.
No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
RCB asks a very good question. Is it insulting to get some chocolates and mints? Because that's what I got. I think I'd rather not have them not do anything.
No, I do think some kind of thought is actually appreciated.
I am totally on RCB side. You want to send me a card wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Blank you, give me cash.
Hold on. That's not what RCB said. He did not say a card.
Yeah.
There's actually a gift of some kind. There are some chocolates, there are some mints. That's a touch of thoughtfulness. That's a touch of
I'm super cheap.
Well, it's a touch of okay, I value what it is you do.
You know, someone in the Twitch chat room goes by Vile one, says, I remember getting a $5 gift card from McDonald's and thinking I need out. Yes. In the same, like, here's what I would ask RCB. When you got the chocolates and mints, did you think, wow, I work at a great place, or I really need to spruce up the resume? That's,
you know what? Sometimes it could be an helpful hint. Wancho, we got a cookie last year.
and Hops brings up the best one ever, because it happened to me in this building working for the company of which we do the studio at. I think the real insult is having the value of chocolate and mints added to the tax withholding on your paycheck. We got $50 gift cards here one year. Yes, we did. We got a Visa. And you know why I know we did? Because you gave yours back because of that. You don't even remember this. I do. We got a $50 gift card. And then they taxed us on it. And Moulton literally walked in to the accountant's office and said, here you go. Coming back to you now, David?
Sometimes I could be a real jerk. Usually I'm a nice guy, but not always.
Taxing the Christmas gift.
I actually think I was justified there.
I don't think you were wrong, David.
Oh, that's good. That's kind of a half right.
That's definitely half right. I wouldn't have done it. I appreciate you doing it.
So that's our poll question. Are you getting a Christmas bonus this year?
And Miller and Moulton are feeling a lot better about Miller and Moulton. We're sorry for all of you that are not getting bonuses, but we feel a little better about ourselves that now 60% of you are getting zip, zilch, nada from your employers.
Now, I will say it's been a tough couple years for a lot of places, so I do think we have to take that into consideration. Of the 40% that are getting a bonus, most people are getting cash. So.
King, David. It's always the right size. It's always the right color.
What if, like B. Wayne says, I take a half a day over just about anything? What if the boss threw you like an
extra vacation day? Yeah, that's a gift.
Okay.
You get paid to not work. That's a great idea.
Fair enough. Roy Cummings, talk a little Bucs next. Thanks for listening.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, have you seen this from TaylorMade?
Is our next guest coming via phone?
Yes.
Okay, can you text me his phone number?
I should text that to you. Huh?
Wait a minute. Briz, talk to me. The company that signs my paycheck has done or said nothing but a few of the... okay. So yeah. Yeah, that's what I kind of like, I guess, because like the country club I'm a member at, we own the club. So we are billed, I think, $100 basically and I'm sure you could say no, you don't want to give it, but basically everybody gets hit up for $100 and it gets divided among the employees. So with no alcohol, like Johnny Mac, you couldn't order a drink? Like there was no alcohol at the party or they weren't paying for it? Because I will say the Beasley Christmas party was a 2-drink ticket thing. After that, you were a cash bar unless you could get Shane to give you more tickets, which I was usually pretty good at. Klecko, you didn't like Trader Joe's?
You know, I've never been.
Great prices on cheese.
Well, that's a draw.
And well, I will say, Arch, in the glory days of the early Beasley Christmas parties that I was at, and I never was here when it was full on, probably doing lines in the bathroom, but there was always one lampshade a year.
Yeah, there was one person who always...
Well, the one guy ended up getting arrested for that DUI with his kids. You know what I'm talking about? He sales guy, and then he got popped on corkscrew about 3-4 years ago.
There you go, B. Wayne. I will say, I throw money around at Christmas like I have it.
My wife does too. Found out she gives $100 to the teacher, and she's done it every year. I knew the teacher got something. I didn't know it was a Cino.
It was a hundo, right?
I mean, that's fine by me. I don't care.
Well, good for you, SEC me. Good. I'm glad. I like to hear stories that people are getting a little something for the effort.
He's getting a half day and a work from home day. That's vacation.
I work for myself, so I give myself a bonus whether I deserve it or not. Hey, somebody's got to love you, right?
Roy is on hold.
Still married? Are you still working there?
30 seconds.
We had someone said that we had a tornado touchdown in South Fort Myers. Literally text the show. There was some damage and it looks like it happened.
I will check Twitter. See what I find. 15 seconds.
Tampa's about to get popped right now too, for the record.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this edition of Miller and Moulton. If you are living or listening in the 239, those of you in the Tampa St. Pete, we begin our final hour. Thanks so much for being with us. We have said this since the top of the show today. Be careful. There is bad weather on the west coast of Florida. It hit southwest Florida first. In fact, there are reports that a tornado touched down in South Fort Myers. There has been a tornado watch all morning until 10 o'clock in the 239. Tampa St. Pete, don't have to tell you, things are getting worse, and they're going to get, well, worse until lunchtime when supposedly they're supposed to get better. So just be careful out there. You know, don't want to sound like an episode of Hill Street Blues.
You did, though, and I'm okay with that. Let's be careful out there.
Roy Cummings is kind enough to join us once again. And, Roy, that applies to you as well. Be careful out there. pewterpirates.com. Follow Roy on Twitter at rcummingsfhcn. How are you?
I'm good. I'm dry, so hopefully avoiding the most severe weather, but hopefully it brings a little bit cooler temperatures, which would be nice.
That will be a fact for the next couple of days, no doubt. Well, things in Tampa have cooled down as far as the Bucs go. This was a terrible loss, and more so about what's happened after. Evans out for a while. Godwin out for the rest of the year. This is devastating. We've talked, Roy, so many times about this Bucs team and not being able to afford injuries. And now at the skill positions, they were devastated on Sunday.
Yeah, they really were. And this is going to be a real test of this team's depth. I mean, we've seen it tested before in other areas, but now we're going to see it tested at those skill positions where, you know, I still think that they're in pretty good shape, to be honest. I mean, I think Tom Brady is clearly an X factor in that as well. Let's not forget that this guy can make almost anybody look good. He's just going to have to develop a little more trust in guys like Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller. I think he's already got that anyway. You're getting Antonio Brown back, so that question is resolved. Necessity kind of clears the way for him for sure, and we'll see where they go. I mean, they still have plenty of depth at tight end as well. Those guys are all right. They're not hurt. So, I mean, you know, Mike Evans wasn't getting targeted a lot, but he was making big plays. Chris Godwin was getting targeted a lot and making big plays. So somebody's got to step up. This is a big opportunity for other guys to show what they've got, and they're going to have to take advantage of it.
Roy, you had been warning us, though, that yes, the Bucs had been winning here recently, but you said, I really don't like the way they're playing. And before the injuries started happening in the second and third quarters, they were not playing well again, and it seemed to be a little bit more than just the Saints doing. Do you think in a strange way this is also the wake-up call needed that, hey, we need to step it up here?
Yeah, I think it is. And, like I said, I have not been all that excited about the way they've been playing. I think they've taken advantage of a schedule that's been very favorable for them. The toughest game on that schedule, we went through it a couple weeks ago, was Buffalo, and Buffalo, didn't really prove to be that good of a team, certainly for one half. They let them hang around and then made it close. And, we found out again on Sunday Sunday night, what happens when you let just an ordinary team hang around in the NFL. Sometimes they can beat you. I mean, it's amazing to me that how many times Tom Brady and the offense had a chance to come back against the Saints, and they just couldn't do it. Now, I think the Saints took advantage of a weak spot in the Bucs line, maybe a bad day for Alex Kappa. Clearly, Cam Jordan had figured something out against him, beat him a couple of times. I think of the four critical sacks, I think at least three of them are on Kappa. Stuck one-on-one against a guy that he just didn't match up against. And then you had Tom Brady once again. And he's done this, I don't want to say in every game, but pretty close to it. He's thrown at least one or two passes that should have been picked off. Passes that, from Tom Brady, you just don't expect him to make that throw. And he made that throw anyway, and he got away with one early, but he didn't get away with one late. And to me, I think we've seen this several times now over the course of the season. And I think they've gotten away with it. And on Sunday, they didn't get away with it. And now when you've got younger receivers who he doesn't have quite the same chemistry with, they don't have the same skill set as a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin. What's going to happen when those throws go just a little bit off? If they go off against, it doesn't matter the opponent at this point. If somebody's not there to, make that play for you, what happens? So a little concerned still going forward. I think Tom Brady still has to play a little bit better himself, and he's really the key to it all now.
There's no doubt there, Roy. I thought the point you just made, whoever the opponent is, because when you looked at it before the injuries, and you said, well, these are games that they should be able to take care of. They should be able to get this sucker into the barn without losing. Well, that already happened against New Orleans, so I don't think you can discount anything the rest of the way, and not to mention the fact they're going to love to try to do anything they can to disrupt Tampa's season. But when it comes to Brady, why do you think that throw's been there? Do you think it's the line play? Because you're right. He's had the picks, and when he hasn't had the picks, there's been one that's been dropped, essentially. Do you blame it on the line? Do you blame it on just a brain cramp, or what are the reasons that you think you're seeing this?
I think it's just that, it's just, we expect perfection almost out of Tom Brady, and he's not perfect. No one is. I mean, he's the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen. It amazes me the small windows that he puts the ball through. I mean, there was a throw, it might have been on the play that Chris Godwin got hurt on, where, I mean, he basically threw it into a three-man coverage and threaded the needle. And I was like, my gosh, how did he do it? And, when you're asked to do that, time and time again, you're not going to hit 100%. So I don't think it's the line. Every once in a while he gets, hurried here and there. But he's pretty smart about what he does with the ball when he's hurried. I think sometimes, he's just not, 100% accurate, and you can't expect him to be. And that's kind of part of the issue. I don't think the Bucs expect him to be 100% accurate, but on days when he's not, and he gets picked a couple of times, somebody else has got to make some plays somewhere. And on Sunday, that didn't happen. I don't, the defense played fine. I mean, they only gave up 9 points. You can look at that and say it was a great effort, but I mean, what kind of a game plan did New Orleans really have? It was, hand it to Kamara as much as we can and see if we can fool them with a quarterback run here and there. They really weren't throwing the ball downfield. I'm not even sure they were trying to score late because they certainly didn't want to take any chances. It was a defensive-oriented game, and if the Bucs get into another one of those, you have to wonder about their chances of coming out of it. So at this point, though, look, they're headed to the playoffs. They just have to maintain what they've got at this point and hope that some people get healthy, and get one or two of those guys back. And if they can do that, it could right the ship a little bit more.
Roy Cummings, pewterpirates.com, pewterpirates.com. Follow him on Twitter, rcummingsfhc. And Roy, can a legal hit be dirty? Because I thought that was a dirty hit. And I know it's legal. I know it can't be penalized. I thought it was a dirty hit.
Yes, a legal hit can be dirty. And, it can sometimes games get chippy and it happens. But, look, it's football. There's a lot of those hits that a lot of those plays that we don't see. They're behind the play. It's a block here and there, something like that. To me, it's part of the game. It was a legal hit. It wasn't the cleanest of hits. You don't want to see it on a regular basis. I think if you find a guy who does it does it consistently, he's probably going to get flagged for it. But in this case, that wasn't how it works. So, look, I'm not all that concerned, but look, it's unfortunate, the result, but sometimes you just got to, say, hey, that's football. You move on.
Any other injuries? I know the key players that, we mentioned earlier in our show, the 3 skill guys. Anything else from a standpoint of that injuries that are out there?
No, again, I just, did you notice Jason Pierre-Paul at all?
Yeah, he was on the bike a lot.
Yeah, and that's the one I continue to look at and say something's not right there with him. Look, we know he's got some bad tendonitis. He's got the shoulder problem, the rotator cuff. He's almost disappeared in a lot of ways, and he certainly did on this particular Sunday. Again, he's somebody you have to worry about if he's the opponent, but at this point, to what degree do you have to worry about him? I don't know. Until that shoulder gets healthy, I'm still worried about him. And the other thing is, you're just at a time of the season when everybody's nicked up a little bit. Everybody's dealing with a little something. And, so how much is that affecting this team? I think one of the good things is, injury-wise, you got fresh legs in Ronald Jones, and showed last Sunday on a few occasions. So I think in that case, you can change up the game plan a little bit, maybe, lean on the run a little bit more. Let's not forget, in each of the last 2 games, the Bucs have basically, passed the ball like the first 15 to 20 times they've had it. So I think that may change a little bit. And the good news is I think their line is capable and certainly good enough to support a good, strong running game. So maybe they just change up the approach and, beat some people, in the trenches as opposed to trying to throw it down the field again.
Well, Roy, final question about that. It's clear that the coaching staff, and I think even Brady, doesn't have as much confidence in Jones as they do Fournette. But also with Bernard on the IL, I mean, the backup is the second-year back from Vandy, and you could tell Brady wants no part of him. He doesn't trust him. He's had a lot of drops, and they don't even want to call a running play for him. Do you think, let's just say this a couple games with Fournette banged up. Fortunately, it's Carolina and the Jets, but do you think Ronald Jones can handle being a 25-carry, 25-touch guy for 2-3 weeks here if they need him?
Yeah, I do. I don't think Ronald Jones as a runner is a concern. In fact, I think the Bucs have a lot of confidence in him in that regard. The difference is him as a pass catcher. Leonard Fournette is a guy who came in and really got better at that with the Buccaneers and became a real weapon for them in the passing game. That's the area where Ronald Jones doesn't quite measure up, not as quite as good a chip blocker as well. That's the concern. That's why Ronald Jones has kind of fallen down the depth chart. As a runner, he's fine. In fact, as a runner, he's going to be at least as dynamic as Leonard Fournette. He's going to do it in a slightly different way, but more of a slasher. But he'll grind out some tough yards too. And if you can get him into the open spaces, he'll gain 18 or 20 for you, at a clip. So it's not that part, it's not the running part that they're concerned about. It's the pass catching, and that's such a big part of the offensive scheme, or it has been. Again, that's why I think you see a new game plan put in place here for these last 2-3 games, where they lean on the run a little bit more and lean on Ronald Jones' skill set, what works for him, little bit more as opposed to trying to throw the ball on some of these screens and some of these flats, these flat routes. So I think they're going to be just fine there. In fact, I'll be surprised if Ronald Jones doesn't come up with a good 100 or 150-yard game or two here down the stretch.
Roy, Merry Christmas. Thanks for your contributions, not just in our third act, but really through our first 3 acts for 15 years. All the best to you and your family. Stay safe, be well, and have a great holiday.
From the bottom of my heart, guys, same to you. Thanks for having me on, as always. I appreciate it.
He's Roy Cummings, pewterpirates.com, pewterpirates.com, and you can follow Roy on Twitter at rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. There was a play, it's 6-0, it's late third, and Brady throws a little pass to Jones, and he catches it on like a 2nd and 8. And if he just turns it upfield and takes on a guy, he'll get a first down. But he avoided contact, and he runs out of bounds about 1.5 yards short, and they don't convert the 3rd and short. And they go to the sideline, and Brady is yelling at Jones like, dude, you got to get the first down there. Come on now, 225 pounds. And it will be interesting. He does not have the confidence in Jones and Vaughn, who are his now top 2 backs, as he has, obviously in playoff Lenny there.
Well, whatever happened the end of last year continued on all this year. And I know people are raving about his hands. He's got the best. No, but we had a guy who didn't catch the ball, who now is a very reliable back. And you're right that, and I think Roy said it, we all know it. Brady's no different than any other quarterback. When he has confidence in certain people, he just keeps going to him and going to him and going to him. And all his confidence guys are gone now.
Well,
except for Gronk.
There you go. I'm wondering, are we going to see a lot of 2 tight end?
How can you not? If he's starting to get hit a little bit more. How do you prevent a quarterback from taking blows? Put another tight end to chip somebody.
A few people in the Twitch chat room have said, can we run the ball a little bit more? Yeah. Carolina and the Jets, I think you could see a little bit more of that. 16 minutes after the hour, Pat Kirwan in a little less than 20 minutes to talk the rest of the league. We are Miller and Moulton. Be careful out there. Storms up and down the west coast of Florida. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I think he's grinding Charlie the same way Earl was grinding him.
No. But it does look as if Charlie wants to play.
Yeah. Charlie's also 12.
Yep.
He's not had his first kiss yet, if you know what I mean. didn't see it 'cause I don't watch the show. Rex Chapman put a tweet out yesterday. Samantha Bee recently did 8 minutes on the Sackler family, the family largely responsible for the opioid epidemic in America. The Sackler family's business is Purdue Pharma. They essentially made heroin in pill form and then falsely marketed the drug to doctors. I mean, I knew it was Purdue. You start putting names on there, that is pretty.
Mm-hmm.
We're having Pat Kirwan on right now, right?
No. Next segment.
Oh no, yeah, next segment. Gotcha. Uh-oh. Yeah, we haven't even considered the fact that there's a tornado warning.
There's not
It's not a warning.
Tornado
It's a
watch.
It's a watch.
Big difference.
Watch.
It's a watch.
Big difference. Morning means there's one in the area.
I know.
Watch means conditions are favorable.
If we get cut off.
I will say, a couple communities within about 2 miles of my house that got some real damage.
Oh yeah, I checked.
Did you get any?
Julie went to work,
Oh,
so
15 seconds. Uh-oh.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
23 minutes past the hour. Severe weather up and down the west coast of Florida. More harsh in southwest Florida. Don't know if a tornado actually touched down, but there's significant wind damage in sections of South Fort Myers. Be careful. Tornado watch in effect until 10 a.m. in the 239, and what bad weather is coming to Tampa St. Pete is coming between now and lunch.
and most of the 941 for that matter, as far as basically from Venice down is a tornado watch for what it's worth.
So please be careful. And there are some power outages and electricity flickering. It even did so here in this studio during the commercial break. So be careful.
You want to text the show? Text FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio to 21,000. That will get you in. You can answer our poll question by going to that Mark Miller or the David Moulton. Very simple today. We're just trying to find out whether or not you're getting a Christmas bonus. And 62+% of you are like Miller and Moulton. Zip, zilch, nada. And I apologize. I feel badly. I'm very happy for the 30% of you that get cash. For the 8% of you that get a gift card, I'm only happy for you if you're not taxed on it. because we were at one point. In fact, David gave the gift card back because of that reason. It's an all-timer.
One of my prouder moments.
The best part was when I brought this up, David looked at me like, we did not get a gift card. I'm like, oh, yes, we did.
But obviously, I didn't count it as a gift.
No, you counted it as
So
part of your pay.
So I guess technically, Felipe, I did receive a $50 gift card. All right. But I gave it back, apparently, in protest, which is part of my charm.
Stop the cab, David Moulton.
2 games last night in the NFL, both close, at least in terms of the final score. Neither one of them very appealing. Raiders beat the Browns 16-14. It's going to be really difficult for Cleveland to make the playoffs. They'd have to win out, and take a look at Cleveland's schedule when you have a chance. You're feeling bad about your team, take a look at the Browns' schedule the rest of the way. They are not winning out. They're not winning out if they were completely healthy and they had all their guys. They're not winning out. So the Browns season effectively ended with that 48-yard field goal by Daniel Carlson at the gun yesterday. And a big win for the Vikings. For the moment, it puts them in the playoffs at 7-7. They're the 7 seed. They win the conference tiebreaker with the Saints. Somebody's getting a 7-7 tonight when Washington and Philly play, unless we get a tie, because they're both 6-7. We'll say, NFC East could get 2 playoff teams because they're playing a lot of division games the rest of the way. I mean, Philly wins this one. They got the Giants at home next week. That's a W.
No, it's not. Stop that. I'm going to stop you. We can no longer look at any games for the rest of the season and say that's a W. The Bucs just got shut out. Arizona got beat by Detroit. At this point of the season, with COVID, with injuries, with everything that's going on in the football world, there is no such thing as a guaranteed W. And that's why, to back up your point, look at all these teams. Miami, you're not winning 3 in a row. Vegas, you're not winning 3 in a row. It's not happening. It hasn't happened all year in this league. And why people can think this is the college football thing. Hey, 6 teams are going to run the table. No, they're not. We go through this exercise every year. And David, to your point, no one's been able to string anything along in the NFL.
Whatever you think my paycheck is, I will bet you that the Eagles beat the Giants. Jake,
I don't have the kind of money to lose.
I know. I don't either.
But I will bet you $20 without a problem. And I'll bet you straight up right now. Because that's this league. Now, I would prefer to have odds because I could get them anywhere else. But you know my point. You have no idea between now and when that game's played what players are even going to play for either team.
Well, that's true. But I'll tell you what, the guys that the Giants have left, they're not very good.
No, they're not. But yet they still somehow will manage to win a football game down the stretch.
If you say so. I know the point you're making, and it's a valid one. This is the National Football League. Anybody can beat anybody, and nobody mails it in, by the way. I mean, no one is mailing it in. Even Jacksonville. They didn't mail it in under Urban. They're just not very good.
The bigger problems we're going to have is not winning and losing. It's going to be just playing. The NHL has taken a pause, or if they haven't announced it yet, they're about to, that they're going to be done for the next few days. There are 34 collegiate basketball teams that are on pause right now.
Which is over 10% of the sport. Well, right around 10% of the sport.
Including Florida State, Ohio State, Penn State, Seton Hall, Syracuse, UCLA, and USC.
And some conferences are counting it as a loss if you have to cancel your game because of COVID. And we're talking about you, the Pac-12, and you, the Big East. DePaul has now had 2 such forfeits, and they are not happy about it, and I don't blame them.
And the NBA is sitting there freaking out.
Christmas is kind of a big deal for them.
Most important day of the regular season for the association. And David, this is look, if there's the league has been the most socially active league of all the sports, they're the one that's going to stay open on Christmas with all this going on? The irony here is dripping that if all the leagues that would play on Christmas, the NBA has tried to be the social justice league and the PC league and doing the right thing league.
The woke league, yes. But they don't have the COVID problem that the NHL has. They don't even have COVID as bad as the NFL does right now. And the NFL had 47 players yesterday test positive for COVID. That's not counting those in close proximity and, no, we're talking about 47 positive tests.
Right, because they've started testing. There's a part of this, David, that leads me to ask a really, really simple question. Are they testing everybody in the NBA daily right now? My guess is no.
I'm guessing not also, although there are a handful of teams who have serious COVID issues. I think the Nets have just got on pause. So, but it's not quite the problem that the NHL had. I mean, NHL also has multiple teams in Canada, and Canada said we're not allowing cross-border, so that obviously is a problem. But yeah, there were 5 games scheduled in the NHL last night. Only one of them got played because of COVID. Dallas beat Minnesota 7-4. Only 2 games in the NHL tonight. That'll be the last 2 games until at least Monday. Washington and Philly. It's ironic. They play in both football and hockey tonight. And Tampa Bay's in Vegas. The last hockey game will be Tampa Bay and Vegas because it's a 10 o'clock start. And then, well, we'll see on Monday. We hope. Maybe. Cross your fingers.
Right.
I mean, you and I are of the belief that pretty quickly here, the players are going to bail on the Olympics, and they're going to spend much of those 3 weeks that were left open just rescheduling games lost to COVID.
They're going to try. They're going to try. But these arenas are being booked. Now, with everything that's going on, will they be able to have the events? We're back to a great unknown right now.
We are. There is some uncertainty in the sports world for sure. But, Mark, there was NHL that maybe games are not played at home. That if you don't have arena availability and what have you, but, hey, we got to get these games in. Okay, we'll figure something out. I don't know, play at the other guy's place, but they'll send them a check. I mean, whatever the case may be. But we got to play these games.
That's what they're doing on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, every damn day but Wednesday in the NFL. We'll talk with Pat Kirwan about it next, right here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home training system. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
One-armed kid, Hansel Emanuel, that's his name.
Do we know where he's going?
He actually only has one offer, and I believe it's from an HBCU. I think he's a 0-star, if you could believe that. If he had 2 arms, I'm talking top 10, top 5 recruit in the nation. He's that good. And yesterday in his game, he had 16 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals,
12 rebounds.
Yes, 12 rebounds with one arm. 8 assists, 2 steals, and 5 blocks. 6'6". And they weren't just blocks, like he was glassing people. Check it out. Glass someone too. Like it's ridiculous. Oh, and he hit like a super deep 3 at the buzzer.
Oh, the one arm kid.
Really awful, honestly.
You getting paid, by the way, for this? Did you ever find out?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know how much.
It's all right.
Minimum wage, probably.
Well, I'm gonna have a 17-hour day today, so
You're there from when?
there till 11:30.
Oh. You're not going to get sympathy. You signed up for this, young man.
It's almost over, but
2 more days, right? Today, tomorrow.
today and tomorrow, yeah.
Hey, you know what you get? Get a program if you can and hold on to it
Oh yeah,
because of the names.
yeah,
Okay, so this way you can look back and go, oh yeah.
hell yeah, yeah.
There was a Florida State League All-Star game here in like the early 2000s. Okay. Ryan Howard, David Wright. I mean, it was a who's who. You look
Yeah.
2 years later, you went, damn.
I went to I'll go.
Call Pat.
Gotta call Pat.
They got a. This is interesting. Big Game Boomer, whatever the site is, just a college football site, but they have ranked the 40 best college football games of this season. It's their poll.
When the Marlins
Call Pat.
Yes. I can call Pat in 2 seconds.
Well, there's nothing more important
Yes,
than Pat.
That's the most important
I'll call.
thing.
Yes, I call Pat first, and then I tell you what.
You can leave a message. Better be telling my cars here. They have Kansas beating Texas as the #1 game of the year. They have the Auburn-Alabama game 2, Oklahoma-Texas 3, ND, Florida State 4. Really? I just like the fact they got the Kansas #1. That just made me smile.
That's outstanding.
I mean, they have Michigan, Ohio State 11. I don't think I could.
Where'd they have Bama?
Hey Pat, it's Felipe. How are you?
Your mic's on.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm gonna plug you in.
Your mics are on. Seven.
10 seconds. When the
And
MLB All-Star game was in Miami, I went to the Rising Stars game and I saw Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzy Albies, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us. Please be safe. Severe weather up along the west coast of Florida. It started in southwest Florida, Venice, Sarasota, Bradenton, hitting Tampa. Be careful. This is worse than usual. In fact, just be careful.
Just be careful. I think anything else you're saying is really hearsay. There's been a lot of wind damage.
So just be careful. Pat Kirwan is kind enough to join us once again. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains weekday afternoons, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, and many points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, and I am being careful, and I'm north this day, and I will stay this week, Christmas and everything else with the grandkids, and head back down Sunday night, so things should be better by then. But I did talk to some people in my building, and they said, you're lucky you're not here. This is not when you want to be here. So for the few times I get to stay north, it was the right time to do it. Anyway, I had 2 boring games last night, and mistake-riddled. I mean, it was hard to watch after a while, but of course we watch.
Well, Pat, it is interesting because we do watch, but there is, I find it fascinating that people go, well, if they win 3 games, if they win out, Pat, this league is so mediocre this year that these people that think 7-7 teams are going to go 10-7 need to be tested, Pat. I mean, the middle of the league's not that good, is it?
No, but this is what the league loves. I mean, fan bases have not given up on their teams, which is really, when you think back 10 years ago, and it was people surrendered by now. But mathematics keeps guys alive, and Seattle's playing tonight, and David said it the other day. They can still make it, and I think tonight might end that. But they're alive in their minds, and that's kind of interesting. And I know the league loves it, and I think they call it not mediocrity. I think they call it parity. Just to me, it is mediocrity.
Pat, Sunday was, I believe, the lowest scoring Sunday in 15 years in terms of the number of touchdowns. And then, yesterday you've got combined in the 2 games, I think it was 6 touchdowns, and one of them was the final play of the Vikings-Bears game, which was completely meaningless except for fantasy. I mean, do you have a theory? Do you think it's just one of those things? But, first month or so of the season, defenses couldn't even get in the way of offenses. Defense dominated Week 15.
Well, I think it's got a lot of things I believe are causing it. Number one, no one's practicing because of COVID. You can have virtual meetings all you want. You notice the number of dropped passes, you guys? Tampa Bay dropping passes like crazy, and they're not alone. So I do think we're now not practicing the coordination between quarterbacks and receivers. Then you got to figure out, okay, what kind of game plan can I put in when I'm missing 5 starters? And we see teams, it was a week ago, we're talking about 25 guys on the COVID list for the Rams. And many other teams are up around 20. So you're challenged by what can you really put in. Some guys are playing 3rd-string quarterbacks. Some guys are playing guys they just signed. So I think no practice, limited game plans, and the defense really is installed. So if you're going to have to miss practice, it's almost the defense gets an advantage, in my opinion, by that. The offense is so highly coordinated and choreographed that without practice, I think you're really kind of hamstrung about what you're going to be able to do. So I do think that leads to it. And then I have a lot of coaches, they don't complain because they know complaining just makes them sound weak. Let the owners complain, like Mr. Davis and all that. But I think those guys are just like, what else can I do? And then you don't even know. I was talking with Pete Carroll yesterday while I was getting on the plane. And, if that game was played when it was scheduled to be played, he would have had everyone but Lockett. Okay. The game gets pushed back, and I'm all for that. Keep trying to play the games. But while that happened, the Rams got 6 players back, and Pete lost 6 players to COVID. So I think there's that kind of level of frustration. They were ready to go at a game plan, and now they got to rethink what they're doing. So,
Pat,
I think a lot of guys are frustrated by it.
I think that's not just a lot of guys. There's a lot of, this is well beyond football, but let's just keep it to football. Baker complained a bunch about the testing. Pat, help me out. Is every team getting tested regularly? What are they doing testing-wise? Do we even know?
Well, Pete Carroll, again, was the only team that, to my knowledge, that was testing everyone twice a week, and the players wanted it, Mondays and Wednesdays. And they did not have a guy fail last year, so they believed in their system, and now they had this one, and then they had 2 guys finally fail for the first time. They got all the way to week 15 with no fails. So what's going on now is they just don't want to catch anyone anymore. So if you're asymptomatic, you're not going to get tested. You're just going to roll through. Plus, all these guys that had COVID last week that are coming back, your listeners should know this by now, they're going to go 90 days without being tested. So they're all going to clear the Super Bowl if the team's lucky enough to get there. It was a really, sarcastic now, really good week to get COVID. No symptoms, get back on the field a few days later, and you're done being tested for the year. So I got to give it to football, though. The other sports are forced into cancellations and postponements. And postponements like a month from now. But you can do that in some other sports. But football, you can't. And they're plowing through, getting all these games in.
Are Green Bay and Kansas City beginning to pull away from the field?
I think Kansas City is. They the cream rises to the top, and they had that little bump in the road in the middle of the season where they couldn't handle the soft cover two, and they figured it out, and they got the quarterback to be more disciplined about throwing the ball short and not into the teeth of that coverage, and they adjusted. And now they also got Clyde Edwards-Helaire back, so they got a little run game going. They're never going to be a running team. That's not Andy's style. But, yeah, I think they got it all going on, and I'm strongly considering Spags for assistant coach of the year. Even without Chris Jones, we all saw what happens to them without Chris, but they still played good enough to win without Big Chris. So I think they are. When it comes to the Packers, I think they're the best team. I know in any given moment, Rodgers will beat you. But does the defense show up all the time? I think they show up just enough to complement the offense. So they probably are, David, the best two teams. And I think we saw some of the Achilles heels of the Tampa Bay Bucs and everything else that's going on, which leads me to, I love Tom Brady. We talked to him enough that we can call him a friend, but we converse a lot. But now he wants to end the low tackle. As soon as I heard him say it, I get it with Godwin's injury, but where are you supposed to tackle someone?
Well,
and who's going to tackle Gronk up high? If you don't chop him down at the legs, you ain't getting him down. So I thought that was a waste of his energy.
Well, you and David would argue for a while on this because David flat out thinks it was a dirty hit. I didn't call it that. I'm with you, Pat. I think you go low. That's always been the way you were taught. So it is certainly something that's a point of contention. And I think I'm with you on where do you tackle someone. But I do want to ask you a similar question to what David asked about two teams. I'm going to ask you about four. Who's going to win the AFC North?
I asked you guys that last week.
I know. Well, I'll tell you, David's answer was whoever wins the Ravens-Bengals game.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. I do think the answer that will be the answer. But I do admire, I have to say it, I don't think any of us thought Pittsburgh had enough left in the tank to be this competitive. I think it's all coming to an end for them, though, the rest of the schedule. David, I know, has looked over that schedule. But they put up a heck of a fight. I mean, that's why they're the Steelers. Cleveland, they kind of think they're still alive, but
No.
I think the winner of that game is the winner of the division. And I'd have to tell you, I think it's going to be Cincinnati.
Well, the Bengals have been terrific in the division, and the Ravens have not. I believe the Ravens are 1-3 in the division. And Pat, we do have just some monster games coming up this week. I mean, Baltimore's at Cincy. We obviously have the Bills and the Patriots. I mean, heck, even the Monday Nighters now is interesting between the Dolphins and the Saints. I just don't know how many good teams we have, though. I know we're going to have 14 playoff teams. You know, Mark says that unless there's a tie tonight, 21 teams heading into week 16 will be 500 or better. I mean, this is Pete Rozelle on steroids.
Yeah, it's entertaining in the sense of we look at it from a global view, right? Oh, where are the elite teams? That's really what we're talking about. Where are they? But the fan is trying to just keep his team alive. And they feel that way. And I just texted with a Viking fan. He's so damn excited that his team's breathing. And so I get it. And really, this is an entertainment business. As my boss told me the first day on the job, you're not in football now, you're in entertainment. Remember that. I didn't even know what he was talking about when he said it, but years later, it's pretty clear to me what he was saying. So they got what they wanted. And who can get a little hot right down the stretch here and roll into the playoffs healthy? And you said it about 2 weeks ago, David, the healthiest team might win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That might be the case.
I definitely think so. I mean, Pat, the last 10 days in terms of trying to figure out who can play and who not. I mean, to me, the last 10 days has seemed crazier than any point last year. I don't know if that's just short-term memory loss or what have you, but it just seems as if the last 10 days have been more volatile than even at any point last year.
Well, back to COVID. I mean, it was about 10 days ago they started, the COVID spread was ridiculous. And I saw it coming. I was charting COVID every week, and it was typically about 20 to 25. Then we popped into the 30s. I think 3 weeks ago it was 39. And then it went right to 150. You start thinking about that, and then you think about the guys on IR. Now, we're at that point where the 3-week window is not going to help very much. So guys are going to IR. The season's going to come to an end for them. You put all that together, and you see what you have. And roster depth, pretty important subject. Some teams have it, usually because they don't have to pay the quarterback, $150 million, and they had enough nickels left over to buy a couple of veteran guys. I'm kind of like forcing myself to start looking about who I'm going to vote for the awards. And the Mike Parsons, that propaganda, he's a great kid. He's going to be defensive rookie of the year, but he's not going to get my vote for the NFL defensive player of the year. TJ is playing great. I tell you, he's not going to get it. Doug won't get a vote. But has anyone been paying attention to Robert Quinn? Robbie Quinn has 10.5 sacks in the last 6 weeks, and he's got 16 sacks. So there's a couple of guys. So for me, as I sit here looking at a mediocre league, I am trying to isolate the best players. It's kind of a little refreshing to do that. What happened to Brady after that game? Where's Rodgers with all that? I'm not voting for the running back. I love him, but he's not going to get my vote.
Well, I think he definitely deserves consideration. But the question I have for you, Pat, is that, I heard you say Kansas City, and I trust you, and I believe that you're right with that. But are we starting to fall asleep on Buffalo? It was a month ago that Buffalo was right there with everybody, and now no one's paying attention. They righted the ship against Carolina. If they beat New England this week, are we back into saying, well, what about the Bills?
Absolutely. There's some. You started talking about games, and Bears a big one. Bills in New England. And there's other teams that got teams that are going to get eliminated or not. How about the 49ers in Tennessee? You think Tennessee's feeling great about where they are? I'm sure they think, well, we'll hold off the Colts, but will you hold off the Colts if you lose this one? Maybe not. So I looked at my list of games that I think are outstanding because something's on the line. Pittsburgh and Kansas City. I think we all agree Kansas City should take that thing. But the Rams in Minnesota, there's a couple of games out here that are, and this is great for those who think we haven't predicted. I think I might run a contest. That's a good idea. Name the 7 teams in order in both conferences for the playoffs. Got to do it this week before these games are played. I bet you not many guys get it right 7 both ways.
I'll be texting you mine after this segment.
In fact,
feel free to give it to me now. I might copy and use it myself.
he's Pat Kirwan. He joins us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. Listen to Pat and his co-host Jim Miller weekday afternoons on NFL Radio, and he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat, we will try to talk before the week is out. We're not doing a show on Friday. If we don't talk, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys, and if you need me on Thursday or something, or you want me to come on, just let me know. I am doing not just a show on Friday. I'm doing 1 to 4 on Christmas Day. My wife's really happy.
No one's surprised by that, Pat.
No, not at all. Not at all. I noticed he said he's doing 1 to 4.
Right.
He didn't say anything about Jim Miller doing it with him, but he's doing it. Pat, be safe.
Of course I will. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio, joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Stay safe, everyone in Tampa, St. Pete. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Bonus hour of Miller and Moulton coming up on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I didn't realize they were playing. Yeah.
But what's interesting is that Fly next week doesn't have a game. If anything like this happens next week, FGCU's in play to fill in.
But Fly can call him right now and say, hey, I can't play you tomorrow. What's next week? You know what I mean?
Right.
I think these, this is a fluid situation in college basketball. These guys need to be, because this is like a high school. This is where, hey, I just need games, man.
Well, and like I text Fly all the stuff about Iona. I kept forwarding it to him because one of his former assistants is on their staff. Okay. And he knows somebody else in the basketball department there, in which I just said, hey, they'll want to make this game up. Could they make it up next week? Could you end up getting a home and home out of this? Well, if you come and bail them out and give them a home game.
That's why, like Indiana State, I mean, Larry still spends time down here.
Right.
Indiana State's, to me, for FGCU, that's a really nice get.
Yeah.
It's a school with this much of a name.
Right.
So when you say Indiana State at FGCU Thursday night, people go, Indiana State. It's not Canisius College, or it's not Campbell College, or what, you know what I mean? It's like,
Plus, I said to Fly, I go, hey man, you got a team this year. Okay. You're actually in position to go play a game.
By the way, how about someone tweeted this out earlier. I saw it that last year they had it up on Sportsnet too, because they ran.
Yeah.
They ran 90 seconds of highlights.
Yeah. Not much going on.
Well, I don't care.
I know. Well, because they ended up showing a little Kirsten Bell. She hit the big three, and
well, she can. I mean, we all know she can flat out play, and somebody in there knows. Somebody doing this. Somebody's like, hey, this girl. Somebody somewhere.
Well, if somebody in the building's paying attention to women's basketball, they knew she's on All-American watches and all.
Yeah.
That, right. It was an amazing game.
I'm
just following it on the phone.
There was on this Flow TV or something.
Was it?
I don't know what that is, David.
I don't either. Yeah, Adam. Bill Cowher's done. Bill Cowher's been done. Bill Cowher last coached 15 years ago. 15. This would be Dick Vermeil-esque coming out of retirement. Adam,
Apparently,
the first two seasons the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went 2-26.
Apparently, Ed O'Bravenich, Bears WGN guy, apparently let loose right after the game last night on an open mic about Nagy. Can you turn this computer on so I can hear sound?
So he didn't know he was on the air?
No. He knew he was on air.
Oh.
From quarter to quarter to quarter, you have to score touchdowns and put points, convert on third down to win a damn football game in this league. And I'm going to tell you something. This coaching staff is beyond ridiculous.
30 seconds.
They're leading 53 men who are playing their hearts out, and they're not putting them in a position to win a football game. Let me say it again. They're not putting them in a position to win a football game. How the hell can you be in the red zone and you don't even try to score a touchdown? Are you kidding me?
That's the end of it.
Who is this?
That is
Is it Ed O'Bravenich?
Ed O'Bravenich, WGN, longtime sports guy in Chicago.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this very windy, stormy Tuesday before Christmas. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Quick preview of the Tuesday night doubleheader. Seattle and the Rams, Washington and Philly. Rams trying to catch Arizona to be tied atop the NFC West, even though the Cardinals own the tiebreaker. And if Philly wins, technically, Minnesota stays the 7. If Washington wins, Washington moves back into the 7 slot.
At some point, your head's going to explode trying to explain this, David.
Well, here's what you need to know. There would be 3 teams, and barring a tie tonight, there will be 3 teams at 7-7 in the NFC. Only one of them gets in.
There you go.
And in the AFC, you've got, I think, 4 teams at 7-7 and the Steelers at 7-6-1, and none of them are getting in because right now even the 8-6 Ravens are out.
And that's why, no offense, Doll fan, you're not going to the playoffs.
Unless you win out.
And you're not going to win out.
Probably not. It would be 9 in a row.
A 9-game winning streak with this football team, with an offensive line that can't really block, a running game that's been existent for 1 game the entire season.
Although it was last week, though.
Okay. Who are they playing?
Well, it gets a lot harder from here.
Thank you.
They're playing the Saints and they're playing the Titans, both of them on the road, and then they're hosting the Patriots, which means they'd have to sweep New England. So I think the Dolphins would do well to get to 9-8. If by chance, if you think you could somehow, some way contend for the playoffs at 9-8, the one game that you can afford to lose is this week because it's an NFC game. But realistically, all of the 7-7 teams need to get to 10-7.
And the other side of it, as we've pointed out for a couple of days now, Miami's 9-8 more than likely, and I mean 99% more than likely, will not have enough conference wins to get them into the postseason. So, Dolphin, this is a weird year for the Dolphin. It's been 2 completely different seasons. Utter disappointment to start the year. Now they think they're a little better than they are. We kind of anticipated this coming from Miami. They won a bunch of close games last year. We didn't think they were as good. We didn't think they made the leap forward that they thought they did.
Right. No, we thought they were an 8-9, 9-8 team. They won 10 games last year. We did not think they were going to match their win total from a year ago. Here they are at 7-7. Now, we never envisioned that they would get to 7-7 the way they did. In a 7-game losing streak and a 6-game winning streak. I mean, that's just bat blank crazy. But here we are. And now, to me, this is a good test. All three teams, although the Saints actually just got moved to the side by the Vikings last night, but they're playing three teams that are 500 or better. 2 of the 3 are playoff teams. In fact, 2 of the 3 are leading their divisions right now.
The only team over 500 they've beaten all year are the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I was going to say that. The Dolphins have certainly had their schedule within the last 6 games on their side.
Absolutely. But to that point, Felipe, and this is something David and I have said for a long time, and I got this from one of the first hockey coaches I worked for. If you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, you'll end up being at the top of the division. That's just the way that it goes. So Miami did their job. You look back, the loss against Jacksonville will haunt them at the end of the day.
Monster.
Buffalo, what's their loss to Jacksonville could cost them the division, could cost them any opportunity they had at a 1 seed.
There was a stat out there about the Dolphins, and I got to find it here. First off, the Dolphins have now done something that only 2 other Dolphins teams have ever done. Win 6 in a row and win every game by more than a touchdown. And the only 2 Dolphin teams to ever do that before this one was the 73 Dolphins, the one that repeated, and the 84 Dolphins who went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Niners. This is only the 3rd Dolphins team to ever win 6 in a row and have every win be by a touchdown or more. The Bears did something last night, Mark, that hasn't been done literally since the merger. They scored fewer than 10 points by losing 3 fumbles, turned the ball over on downs 3 times, had over 90 yards in penalties, and missed a field goal. Literally no team in the NFL since the merger, which was 1970, had done all those things in the same game. If anybody's wondering about the future of Matt Nagy in Chicago.
Well, we listened to a little clip from a veteran Bears reporter following the game in which he had an out-of-body experience talking about Matt Nagy.
I have a question. Why is he wearing the visor? It's a night game. Am I missing something?
It's his look. I don't know.
What's the purpose of the visor?
What's the purpose of a hat at a night game?
Yes.
People like to wear hats.
What's going on? But he was not wearing a skull cap to keep your head warm.
No. That's
he's
just
bald.
I don't know.
That's all. These are the questions. Mark, that game was dreadful last night, and I love me some defensive football. That game was dreadful.
That's on you for watching. I was very thankful for the wife's Christmas party last night. I did not have to see any of this dreadful football last night. I got to watch The Pianist.
Wow.
Got to have some airflow on the top of your head, with the visor.
You got to have something to flow.
Here's the thing. The visor is it's a tough thing to pull up. Like, I hate hats. I don't hate hats. Hats hate me. As you know, David, I run hot.
Yes.
So when you put the hat on, that keeps more heat in. Bad. Well, I play a lot of golf. They don't want, the dermatologist, do you wear a hat? No. You should. Do you wear sunscreen? No, sometimes. So I've been going with the visor. I've been going with the DL3 look out there. But you can't just grab the visor and go to Publix. At least I don't think you can. Like, you can wear the visor. The visor is basically limited to the sidelines and a golf course. Where the hell else can you wear a visor and be appropriately wearing the proper headgear?
Tennis?
Okay. You got 3.
Tennis plus pickleball. So, yeah. Have you ever played pickleball?
No.
It's so much fun. I love pickleball.
Didn't realize that Felipe had an old soul part to him there.
Well, he is a baseball fan, after all. He's been talking a lot of Marlins. That gets you right in the pickleball category in a hurry. We do have our poll question up today that revolves around Christmas bonuses. We're a little over a third now. Numbers coming back for the Cash King. A little over a third of you are getting some cash. Little less than 10% of you are getting a gift card. And 58% of you are on the Miller and Moulton plan, where you get zip, zilch, nada.
Yep. That's how we roll when it comes to Christmas bonuses. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter and vote.
And if you get a really good one, you can feel free to text the show. Text FSN Radio to 21,000, FSN Radio to 21,000, and let us know your thoughts on sports or on how good of a boss you are or how good your boss is. I mean, last night, the wife's boss, he's just throwing envelopes around, table to table, just slapping them down.
Unbelievable.
100, 200, all over the place. We get nothing.
Wish I had known. Could have called me. I could have crashed the party. Could have sat at a table. Who knows? I mean, he was just throwing envelopes around. He might not even realize everybody who works for him.
I gave him a really hard. Well, they all were to people that work there, and his son now works for him. And his son was at my table, and when he gave his son, when I just looked at him, I went, "Really, really? Like he doesn't get enough?"
That's funny.
Then 2 kicks to the knee from my wife. I got quiet.
There you go. That's you get the second kick. Realize, wow, I really vaulted over the line. Miller and Moulton, when we come back, sometimes you just have to take to Twitter and spillage at a most inopportune time and place. We'll explain on the other side. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, a little more than 20 minutes away. Be safe out there. Weather's a little crazy. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, here.
Oh, you saw that?
Loved it.
The worm.
Loved it.
Love Christian Wilkins. Remember after they won the national championship, he did that split?
What?
In 2017, when he won the national championship with Clemson, he did a split. He grabbed his leg up. And
Yes. Yeah, I saw it. I didn't remember it. Obviously, I saw it. Yes, they showed it. So I can't find the account. There's a Twitter account, The Ghost of Adam Gase, which just in and of itself is fantastic. Oh, here we go. So he got crap from somebody on Twitter. Like basically when that play was going on, he's looking at his phone and everybody's like, blah, blah, blah. So what he was doing, he's literally right behind. Here's the play from this guy's phone, The Ghost of Adam Ghost. He's right behind the seats, David. This is awesome. The jump. Oh, that's part 2. Hang on. First off, the fact that the guy's Twitter handle is The Ghost of Adam Gase is just beyond fantastic. That's part 2. Where the hell's part 1?
You can go back to part 2.
Well, part 2 is not. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is. Oh, he had the jump, I thought. Oh, that's the other. Where's the damn? Maybe did he pin it? I don't know what happened to it, but he literally is in the seats as Wilkins comes and jumps on the two people. It was an awesome shot. But now I don't know what happened. Huh, unreal.
I will say this, Seth, that's enough money where, I think you can live with the tax. You get a $500 bonus. But it would be better if they just peeled them off and handed them to you, put them in an envelope. Figured out a way to call it a business expense. We'll have a season, and yeah, I do think he's a good hire. They clearly had a clubhouse problem last year. This organization needs to get professional. As I like to say, the Mets need some effing adults.
They were a joke last year.
They've been a joke for a little while.
No, I know, but like last year, coming into the season,
Hey, 3 Publix gift cards. I'm in. Publix gift cards, that's cash. Everybody, unless you only go to Winn-Dixie, that's cash.
Mark, I think you and I would be an elite duo team in pickleball.
No, because I would never play pickleball.
Why? It's basically
I'm not 70.
It's giant ping pong. It's giant ping pong.
Very good, KG. I'm glad that somebody caught that. I'm glad that someone caught that. My little YouTube bullet in the blue sky reference there. Yeah, but Benny, your second job, been there 3 months. What was that, 1912? Benny, come on now. Let everybody know here, Benny, you're 107 years old. So, it wasn't that bad. I love Benny, but Benny's acting like he got that job 4 days ago. He just retired. He did come in here and announce that he retired. He's saying his first bonus was $10. What year was that? 1960 what, Benny? And they even did taxes back then?
15 seconds. $10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
17 minutes past the hour on this stormy Tuesday before Christmas. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Of all the things that we have brought up today, one thing that we have not mentioned is USA Basketball made official what everybody thought years ago. Steve Kerr was going to be the men's coach for the next few years. He'll do the 2024 Olympics. Okay. What to me is interesting, though, is take a look at his assistants. He's going to have 3. He's going to have Mark Few.
Okay.
He's going to have Monty Williams of Phoenix. And he's going to have Spo.
Woo! Let's go Heat.
I didn't realize we were getting a Ric Flair woo
over an assistant coach for USA Basketball.
Well, but I think because he recognizes where I'm going to go, don't you think he then becomes the leader in the clubhouse to be the next one? And the next Summer Olympics after 2024 is in LA. And so just, we think of Spo as still like this 34-year-old guy who just got the gig, when he's had the gig now for about a dozen years won a couple titles, been to 5 finals, so that's all. Seems as if they figured out their succession plan.
Awesome.
There.
This is one I'm going to go along because he's so happy about it, and it's a relevant. But this is, to me, this is the President's Cup captain. These are titles to me that mean more to a lot more people than they do to me, and I guess it's because I've lost most of my Olympic.
Well, that's because Olympics are on in your house 24/7, 365, because your wife and 7 others, and we don't know who and where those people are propping up that Olympics channel and watching it year round.
Is it still even on?
It is.
They still have that channel. I don't know
do.
where. You know what? I've not found it for her on satellite, and that's probably a good thing, David. I do know that every once in a while she'll just walk into the room, she'll grab the remote when I'm not watching TV, and she just searches gymnastics. And whatever's then, 10 of them will scroll up because they just announced the schedule for the SEC. And she just starts recording. One after another, after another.
And all of a sudden you sit down one day and you realize you have 13% left to record things.
Right.
You're like, what happened here?
Oh, look at that. We've got every gymnastic event that's been on in the last 4 months.
But a couple of other things that we teased heading into break. All right, which we both, saw the one and then you saw the other. We actually talked about something along these lines last week, where with COVID and college hoops, teams have scheduling issues. And it's tough on the fly to rectify a scheduling issue. So how do you go about it, Mark?
Apparently you go to Twitter. Because as we mentioned on the show, there are 34 teams right now that are on a college basketball shutdown. One of those teams was scheduled to play Indiana State tomorrow. And Zach Bosvert, I think I got that name right. If not, sorry, Zach. He's the assistant men's basketball coach at Indiana State University. And he tweeted out this morning, man, this is crazy to type this. Anyone looking to play tomorrow? ? Indiana State looking for a game. Will come to you, preferably regional. He puts in parentheses, Midwest. Will bring a small holiday gift in the $10 to $15 range. I immediately, and I did not know FGCU schedule. I immediately saw it during our last segment, retweeted it, and I said, hey, to Coach Fly, you've since told me they have a game 2 nights from now in New York. So it would be a little tough to make that happen, going back to back and all. But I just kind of laughed because David obviously is very tight with FGCU and the athletic department. I root hard for the FGCU athletic department. I was pumped yesterday when they beat Michigan State, my alma mater, in women's basketball. I was rooting for Carl the whole game and sent him a congratulatory text after. But Indiana State's got enough meat on the bone in these parts that if it was Indiana State at FGCU, I think there's enough people go, ooh, that's Larry Bird's school. We're an older market that would be relevant. And that's a better game to me at Alico than, say, one of their former A-Sun teams like Campbell, if you know what I mean.
Right. And imagine when Rick Pitino, and we talked about this late last week, Iona was scheduled to play Seton Hall Saturday at Madison Square Garden. And late on Thursday, Pitino's getting word that, hey, this game might get canceled. And Rick Pitino takes to Twitter and says, anybody doing anything Saturday afternoon want to play at the world's most famous arena? And then, there were no takers. People have you can't schedule more games, by the way. Most teams schedule to the max, 31. So really, you're asking the few teams out there who have had a game canceled on them, hey, can you play? Now, what's interesting is FGCU only got 30 games scheduled this year, Mark. FGCU can add a game. So I forwarded that to Michael Fly because, it's Iona, it's Madison Square Garden. All right. Plus, I know Fly's from Kentucky. And the coach is Rick Pitino.
Right.
It
Means
would
a
be-
little something.
It would be a thrill and a half for him to walk over and do the coach's handshake thing and just shoot the bull before the game. But as it turned out, FGCU had a game Sunday early afternoon at Alico Arena, and they couldn't do it. And so, but here's the funny thing. FGCU does not have a game in between Christmas and New Year's. They're going to have a longer layoff than most. They're going to play, I think it's Thursday, Canisius in Buffalo, and then they don't play again, I think, till January 4th. So we're talking they're going to have like a 12-day layoff, which is not ideal. And I think deep down, Coach Fly would love a game next week. And you would think
with
a situation,
30-some teams shut down, there's games available.
Right. Now, kids are going to go home for Christmas break, and which, by the way, I think invites more COVID. I got to admit, if I was running a college basketball
I would do everything I could to keep my kids around.
I know, which is terrible to do.
No, I mean,
it's absolutely terrible to do. But if
can you go home for 2 days at Christmas, wear a mask, come back, we're going to test you right away, and then we're going to stick you in the dorm room for 5 days.
Right.
I mean, hey, until we establish goalposts that stay stationary, I don't know what these coaches are supposed to do, David.
I don't disagree, Mark. I don't disagree. I would be
sucks.
terrified being a college basketball coach in which, hey, so far we've avoided it. Our season is going good. Like in FGCU's case, they're 10-3. No matter how they fare in Canisius, they've had a good non-conference slate. Really good, in fact. This is their best start to a season since they've gone Division I. I'm not saying this is their best team, but this is their best record. But it is technically possible, Mark, that late next week, that if an Indiana State or, DePaul, Seton Hall, heck, FIU, although FGCU's already played them, but you know what I mean? If somebody needs
play them again.
If somebody needs a game, all right, there are not a lot of schools out there that also are not dealing with COVID that are actually in a position to take the game. FGCU would be one of the few to go a week from Friday. Actually, we can do that.
Might be the only way to get USF to play them in a regular season contest.
Yeah, they played them the once.
That's
nearly beat them, and
that was it
off that schedule. Yep.
But this is what it would take,
right,
to get that game, because a coach may walk into his AD's office and say, "I don't care, I've got to play a game.
Got to play them." Don't know what to tell you. Okay. Here's the list of teams and phone numbers. If you can get one of them to say yes, fine. Otherwise, these guys are willing to play. And the other thing that we wanted to mention before we go to the good, bad, and ugly, what's on tap, and all that sort of thing, and it does involve your hockey team, but it is just a great little story about how, some athletes get it.
That athlete happens to be the captain of the Detroit Red Wings, Dylan Larkin. As they were getting ready for their last game, Larkin, doing a drill in warm-ups, happens to go past the goaltender and crashes into the boards and just kind of jumped up and bumped the boards. He's not wearing a helmet. It's warm-ups. And he's happened to be mic'd up. And he's like, oh, no. And the player's like, what? He's like, knocked over that beer. Oh, man, that sucks. And they're going back. He's like, I feel terrible.
Because if you've ever been to a hockey game and you've got those front row seats, the wood, the glass,
the dasher board,
the dasher board is just wide enough where you can rest your beers on them.
So I think Rick Zuber is the athletic or the equipment manager for the Wings. And you see Larkin go over the bench. He's like, Zoobs is what they call him. He's like, you got $20? He's like, what? He goes, you got your wallet with you. You got $20? Yeah, what for? He goes, I knocked over these beers. And he grabs the 20, hands it through the glass, buys beers for the fans. That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
That's really good to have the, he could have just looked at him like, hey, sorry.
Right.
Could have thrown him a puck, maybe gotten a stick. Maybe they would have appreciated.
Stick would have been nice. The puck would have been nothing.
Right.
88 cents of vulcanized rubber for 2 draft beers at a game. That's I don't know if it's one beer, 20 covered it.
Trying to remember when I was there 2 years ago. I don't know if 20 covers
Lightning,
2.
no way.
No.
$14 for a beer at a Lightning game. last check. But
I
he
will
knocked
say
over.
their beers are big. Okay.
Well,
Last
okay.
time I was there.
Yeah, it was a
anyway, they were
24-ounce can.
Right.
So it was 2 beers
Right.
at $7 per can.
Right. That's a pretty good deal these days. It's a really good deal, actually, these days.
That's a dadgum good point, David.
That's 4 beers for $28. That's downright robbery these days. So I just thought that was cool.
It's good stuff. And I mean, you see it all the time. I'll give you one more that I didn't tell you about that really could have been a good, but I want to give it a little more time than that. Did you see the story on Giovanni Bernard, former Bengal, now Buck?
No.
So he was raised basically by his father. His mom died when he was 7 from cancer. His dad, basically, it says, spent every hour working at a South Florida dry cleaning business. And he would buy Christmas gifts, and he would put them in garbage bags, and he would hide them. Wasn't, as Giovanni said, he wasn't a big present wrapper. And he said he didn't have time to wrap the gifts. He just put them all in a black trash bag, and he'd say, here's your trash bag, here's your trash bag, have at it. So from that and being raised by a single parent, Bernard had a Zoom link with 24 single parents that all had their kids with them, and it was all set up. The Bucs cheerleaders came into the room on the other side of the Zoom calls and handed every one of those kids and parents a bag that had Bucs gear in it, a holiday card from Gio, and then an envelope with a $500 department store gift card. I think that's worth a little more than 30 seconds of the good for him doing that. And a lot of the good stories you'll see this time of year, but Gio Bernard, certainly one of the good guys in the league. And I think Tampa's been pretty lucky as a franchise to have so many of them.
Well, Mike Evans has done a staggering amount of charity work.
I mean, before that, I don't know if there's been anybody better really than Warwick Dunn.
Yeah. I mean, he made Derek Brooks look as if he was slacking. He was so good.
Yeah, I mean, just ridiculously that some of the just grade A human beings that we've been lucky enough to watch as Tampa Bay Buck football players. But I thought it was a good little holiday story from Gio Bernard.
I agree. I'm glad you shared it. Miller and Moulton, 29 minutes before the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, and looking ahead to not one, but 2 Thursday night NFL games and 2 bowl games.
Holy Toledo.
Come on now. Don't sleep on the Idaho Potato Bowl, a tropical smoothie Frisco Bowl.
Really could go for a smoothie.
You said that earlier.
They're delicious.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And you know what they call him? Phil Apino Jackson.
Who?
What?
What?
You don't know about Filipino Jackson? Phil Lapino Jackson. It's Eric Spoelstra.
Are you talking about the same Phil Jackson that we all would think of?
I'm talking about Eric Spoelstra. He's Phil Lapino Jackson.
Huh.
Really? Where is he that at?
I've never heard that before.
Never once.
No?
No.
Us Heat fans, we're a little.
We have a
delusional.
wind advisory. Gusts have exceeded 50 miles an hour. Oh, God, help us. The end is near. The end is near. Wind, folks. Wind. Indented dryers. From Cleveland, folks.
From Cleveland, folks.
Good gracious.
Can I look that up on YouTube?
Oh, yeah. I played
Yes.
it.
Okay, I'm gonna do it right now. What do I search?
Appliance Direct.
Appliance.
Now that is good. What are you doing here? Slow down.
I do love Brady being such a bad loser. I think it's great.
When he threw you seeing the, just breaking another.
Yep. Tablet.
Oh, 48 aboard Royal Caribbean cruise test positive for COVID. Well, there's a shocking development. Had a quake this morning off the coast of Eureka, California. They have not changed the weird news on NBC. Whoever does the weird part of this has not updated it on NBC's page in forever. They're starting to upset me.
Maybe the best birthday day since I started doing this.
Like the most loaded roster?
Unbelievable. How many
It's-
people?
If it's not, there's like, it's like April 1st is the one that's like the amazing day. That's
This is an amazing number of people on this date.
Whoa. I just got a notification that 2 Change just commented on one of our things. That's cool.
Wait,
on one of your things. It's his basketball.
I said
thing.
hour. Or
gotcha.
I know, but you meant see hour?
Yeah,
No
yeah,
shit.
we're not-
6 to
yes,
10.
yes.
Hour is this.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's actually your.
Yeah, it is my creation, kind of.
Holla!
Wow.
2 Chainz.
I'll tell you what, you always have to be your biggest fan, and Felipe is letting us know how important that is.
I'm also my biggest critic.
We've never really seen that part.
No, we haven't met that
I've never met that Felipe.
Oh, I hate myself. I'm never good enough ever.
Funny.
It's got more of a future than I thought. I hate myself. He's going to fit in just fine.
But at the same time, I'm a hype man. You know, I try to
Got
hype
it.
you guys up.
Breathe in through
I
the
know.
nose, out through the
Don't
mouth.
care.
It just goes 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Watching a game with him must be something.
No.
In seconds.
Alrighty.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. It's been a stormy, blustery, at times dangerous in Southwest Florida weather day. Be careful out there. Tornado watch until the top of the hour. Bad weather is going to continue beyond that, and it heads north. So if you're headed that way, be careful. Time now for
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When.
Going to start in 1864, Mark. Today was the day that General Sherman conquered Savannah.
Okay. I'm surprised you started that late.
Yeah, there's a decent amount going on today.
All right.
I mean, where'd you want to go?
1620.
The Mayflower?
I mean, seemed to be kind of a biggie.
All right. Now, see, I thought that today was like the second day, though, because it wasn't at Plymouth Rock. It was at Plymouth something.
Well, they came ashore at Plymouth Bay. They thought it was Plymouth Rock. There's a lot of, they're not exactly sure where they showed up. The only reason is that I saw Plymouth Rock. It is the single worst monument type thing you will ever see. And people who live in Plymouth, Mass agree with me on this.
130 years ago today, Felipe, your life was changed and you didn't know it.
Yep.
The first ever game of basketball based on the rules by Dr. James Naismith was played by 18 students today in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Lord Naismith.
1913, first ever crossword puzzle appeared in a newspaper. There were 32 clues.
Pretty sure my grandmother Miller did it.
1937, big day for Walt Disney. First full-length animated feature film. Care to guess which one it was?
Mickey.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. 80 years ago today, the Bears beat the Giants 37-9 to win the NFL championship. It was the Bears' 5th title. It was the first time any NFL team had ever gone back-to-back. 80 years ago today.
Well, celebrate that today, Bears fans, because you've got nothing else.
It was on this date in 1959, the Dallas Cowboys hired a Giants assistant, Tom Landry. Worked out pretty well.
My first day working in pro sports, Craig Jenkins, my very first boss. You try to make yourself as irreplaceable as possible. But remember, Tom Landry got fired, so that's an impossibility.
Mark, it was 60 years ago today, the Beatles record Sweet Georgia Brown and Ready Teddy.
Okay.
Just,
all right.
You know, you're into music.
Yeah.
1968, Crosby, Stills, and Nash first appeared together. They did so at a performance in California. Big day in 69. Vince Lombardi coaches his last game. He didn't know it at the time. It was a 20-10 loss at Dallas. He would find out later in 1970 he had cancer and would not live long enough to coach a game in the 1970 season. Lombardi's only year with the Redskins, he went 7-5-2. A double tie season. Mark, also on this date in 69, Diana Ross' last television appearance as a Supreme. She was on the Ed Sullivan Show. She sang Someday We'll Be Together and had Ed Sullivan make the announcement that this is it. She's going solo.
Wow. Telling Ed what to do. Nobody did that.
No, well, she was a diva even then. 1970, Elvis meets President Nixon at the White House.
It's one of the great pictures of the 20th centuries. It really, I mean, it is. Because you got Nixon smiling and you got Elvis in full Vegas Elvis costume.
It's so funny you mentioned the photo. It is the most requested photo in the history of the National Archives. Is Elvis with our president in the Oval Office. On the same date, Mark, a Supreme Court case, Oregon versus Mitchell, it lowered the federal voting age to 18. Now, states and local elections could still, at that time, set it for whatever they wanted. But on this date in 1970, you could vote for president at the age of 18. John Wayne Gacy was arrested in Illinois. Serial killer. Let's stop that. 1979.
I'm so glad you brought this one up. Go ahead.
Gary Unger's consecutive game streak was stopped at 914
Why was it stopped, David?
because the coach hated him and benched him.
Yep. Think about that. Think about that today.
He dresses. Now, remember, if you dress, it's a 60-minute game. Not only that, it was a 5-1 game. There was plenty of opportunity in the final 10 minutes of regulation to throw Unger on the ice to continue the consecutive game streak. So he doesn't, he dresses him. He's sitting on the bench, and he never plays him. That never happens unless you're the backup goalie.
Right. And he's not hurt, not injured. Unbelievable.
914 consecutive games. That's 11 and a half seasons for those that don't pay attention to hockey. That streak would eventually be broken by Doug Jarvis, but still. Harold Carmichael on this day 1 year later, 1980, he had caught a pass on 127 consecutive games. Carmichael was a huge receiver. He was like 6'7", 6'8".
Yep.
They played the Cowboys. Early in the game, he went up for a pass, and Dennis Thurman rocked him and gave him a concussion. Didn't come back into the game. Streak ended. On this date in 1984, BYU beat Michigan 24-17 in the Holiday Bowl to complete an undefeated season. And even though everybody said they're not the best team in the country and they played an inferior schedule, nobody else had a donut. And a lot of big boys had one loss. Take a look at the teams that finished 2 through 5. But BYU gets awarded the national championship about 2 weeks later.
And Central Florida still upset about it.
1988, Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. 270 would die. All 259 people on the plane and 11 on the ground. Terrorism, intentionally blowing up an airplane. Heart is number 1 on this date in 1985. And Barry Sanders' mark on this date in 97 becomes the third running back to rush for 2,000 yards following O.J. and Eric Dickerson. I'll try to make this quick. A lot of famous people were born on this day. Walter Hagen, Josh Gibson, Joe Paterno, Frank Zappa, Florence Griffith Joyner, all born on this day. Phil Donahue's 86 today. Jane Fonda's 84. Samuel L. Jackson is 73. Ari Lyondike is 68.
With cheese.
Chris Evert is 67. Ray Romano is 64. Kiefer Sutherland is 55. Mike Allstott is 48. Kari Webb is 47. The president of France, Emmanuel Macron, is 44 today. And Saints running back Mark Ingram Jr. is 32. And that is today was the day.
And he skipped 47 birthdays.
Yes.
Because I'm just kind of going through those. Did you mention Allstott? I mean, okay, you were going. No, I mean, I'm like, holy cow.
It's unbelievable. I've only been doing this a couple months. This has been far and away the best birthday day of the bunch.
One in April. I don't remember what there's an April one that also will blow you away.
Okay.
That gets us to this.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
David, if you're from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, what are the odds that you are nice?
Oh, tremendous.
There's nice and there's Sydney Rayleigh. She's 15. She works at Mickey D's in Eden Prairie. She's been working there for 7 months. Thinks it was just another routine day. Making coffee, making drinks, making some coffee, and getting ready for the lunch rush.
Going to the lake.
So she handed some customers some food, and then she went back into the Mickey D's, and she popped back out the window to let her know that the rest of her food was on the way. Sydney noticed that the woman was choking on one of her nuggets. She was coughing like crazy. I noticed she was gagging. The daughter in the passenger seat looked freaked out, so I knew she was choking. Sydney, at 15, told her manager and the woman's daughter to call 911. Then she leapt through the drive-through window into the car and perform the Heimlich on the woman.
Wow.
Right. That's changing on the fly right there. That's a Minnesota girl being able to just, change right up, jump in.
No doubt. That's a
good hockey player right there. For the bad, we go to Akron, Ohio, where, they found a bridge, David. It's been recovered because a 58-foot-long pedestrian bridge was stolen last month.
Stolen?
58-foot bridge. The Akron Bridge, described as a Lego-like structure, once crossed a river in Akron's Middlebury Park next to the Goodyear World headquarters. It was taken down as part of a project and then stolen. A 63-year-old man is now facing felony theft charges. The ugly, bring it back home, over to Cape Coral. And you're saying, what today, Mark? Well, a neighbor fight involving a family.
That's a cheap shot,
Okay. Well, Corbin was mowing the grass, just doing his thing. Teenage kid, 17 years old. All of a sudden, Greg, the neighbor, comes out. Hey, moron! If you're going to cut our yard, raise that deck, you're killing the friggin' sod. Are you that blanking stupid? Apparently, the 17-year-old started mowing past his property line onto the neighbor's. And by cutting the neighbor's grass, the neighbor tried to fight the 17-year-old for cutting the grass at a height much too low for his desired lawn. Hey, you try to kill...
I like it cut low.
Dad then came over and, now Christmas will be a little awkward between the neighbors and the Cape.
Well, that's true. That is true. Not a lot of high neighbor going on for a while.
No. I'd put grass clippings in his yard every day. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, 12/21/21.
All right. A little college hoops still going on. I mean, one game involving a ranked team got canceled because of COVID. But if you're into hoop, Xavier and Villanova, two ranked teams playing one another, FS1 at 7:00. NBA only has one game canceled by COVID so far for tonight, and that involves the Nets. They're supposed to host the Wizards. But the Heat are in action. They host Indiana. Game's on TNT at 7:30 if you're so inclined. We know what Felipe would be doing if he wasn't working the City of Palms. He'll be following up. Can you follow it on your phone or not? You don't have time.
I'm using my phone to post.
Look at that.
I can't.
Boy, did you hear the pain?
The
I
disappointment
can't
there.
watch a December 21st Miami Heat game.
I know.
How will I ever get by?
32nd game of the year. There's only 50 more after this
I'm
one.
trying to watch Filipino Jackson.
That's apparently Eric Spoelstra. We both learned that during the break. Apparently it's a Heat thing. Two games in the NHL tonight. One of them involves the Lightning.
Is there?
No, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 games postponed. There were supposed to be 10 games tonight in the NHL. There's only 2 still scheduled. Capitals and Flyers. How about that? Washington and Philly playing each other in football and hockey, both games in Philly. You do know that's the same parking lot. I mean, the stadium, the baseball stadium, football stadium, and the arena are all in the same parking lot. Right. That's going to be fun.
Enjoy the drive home, everybody. Actually, the drive there will be worse than the drive home because fortunately they'll finish at different times.
Right. Fortunately, the hockey game gets over a good hour before the football game.
But getting in.
Woo-wee. Tampa Bay's in Vegas to play the Golden Knights. That'll be the last NHL game till at least Monday. All right, let's get to these NFL games. They're both at 7. They're both on Fox. If you're sitting home on your couch and you don't have, what is it? Is it the ticket or the red zone?
The ticket.
The ticket would, in theory, allow you to see both.
Correct.
All right. Seattle and the Rams. Washington and Philly. Only one winning team amongst these 4. Rams a 7-point favorite at home.
But there'll be 2 tomorrow.
Correct. Well, right, or at least non-losing.
Right.
And then Philly's a 6.5-point favorite at home against Washington. What's fascinating about these two games, The Rams had a huge COVID problem when this game was supposed to be played. Now the Rams' COVID problem is much better, and Seattle's COVID problem is a lot worse. Meanwhile, Washington had a huge COVID problem when this game was supposed to be played, and now that it's been pushed back to Tuesday, they got like 7 guys back. I'll take the home teams.
I think that makes the most sense for this one.
Not sure I'd lay the points, but I might tease them both down and take them that way, in which you're basically taking both home teams and pick-ems.
Might not be a bad play.
Just, we'll see.
I know a guy. We could do that here in a matter of seconds.
Fantastic. Felipe, good luck at the City of Palms.
Thank you, sir.
Today and tomorrow for that prestigious tournament. And they've got a great Final Four if you don't already have tickets. Be safe out there. Be careful. We'll talk again tomorrow. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John.